I want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And man, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? Oh, man, here we go. Camera problems already? Thought we fixed this. Come on, man. Tell me we ain't dealing with camera problems. All right, give me a second. One of the beauties of being live. See if I can try to make some adjustments really quickly and get a makeshift situation up here. And then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. 1 second. Uh, can we get get a makeshift camera up here real quick. Let's see what I got for y'all. Boom. A little too close, but all right, we gonna back that up, back that thing up. Girl, what is you doing once you back that thing up? Who was you playing with? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your illustrious host, Anton Daniels. Thank you for rocking out with me. Today is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, year of our Lord. Let me get a round of applause for that. We pivoting, ladies and gentlemen. We pivoting. So welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. Until I can get my other camera right. So we just going to be rocking out with this one. And I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock out with me. Let me see what I got right here. Should we do that angle or should we hit them with a different angle temporarily? Let's see if we could do it like this. Get y'all the other angle. Maybe we can flip it around a little bit. No, we don't want to do that yet. Up. Let's see if we can hit them with a different angle, just temporarily, until we can get everything rocking. So y'all can see what I'm looking like on the other side. It's bright out in this joint. Yeah, so y'all can get a little bit of a different view of the studio. What's going on, friends and family? Oh, shit. They said, Anton, we don't like it like that. Oh, no. See if we can flip it around a little bit. No, we don't want us to do it like that. Not like that. We're going to have to cut this out. We're going to have to cut this out of the show. All right. Can we do it like that? No? A little bit different. Let me see if I can make the adjustment, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready. Oh, I know what's wrong. There we go. There we go. All right, so what's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. Hopefully you guys continuing to see the value that we bring over here and every day. You can see a little bit of what's happening inside of the studio. So I got my whole thing that my homegirl actually put together. I paid a lot of money for this, and it goes all the way down, right? And so got the liquor up there, got a TV up there, got another sign that we just got in the other day that got to be hung. And now you can see a little bit of what's happening inside of the studio. So welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. I appreciate you guys. And we just going to keep it rocking. We going to pivot as we see fit, and we going to get it up. What's up to my friends and family? What's happening, everybody out here in these streets? Some people say that they like my artwork. Y'all like my artwork? I think my artwork is pretty dope. I got some of my favorite albums up here. Music Soul Child, Dr. Dre's The Chronic, got Ray Charles up here. Big is up here. A lot of people don't know that I got this made and this up here. Let me see if I can show it to y'all really quickly. So this right here, this Fab album, those is all of real $100 bills up there. I got Mos Def up there, Michael Jackson. All of these is real $100 bills up there. So just to give y'all a little bit of a view of what's happening out here in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Some of the other albums that I got over there is the Rough Riders, Lil Wayne, Nipsey Hussle, got Lauryn Hill, Sam Cooke, Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt. It's a lot of different albums over there. So it's all of some of your favorite albums. Got Rihanna over there. Got some dope stuff over there. So yeah, man, my studio is dope. This is how I kind of move. I kind of roll with whatever it is that's meaningful to me. And yeah, we just kind of get it in. So dope. Anyways, what's going on, friends and family? What's up, Slimmy? What's up to all of my friends that's in the building? I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. And we're going to get it in. Sometimes I give y'all a little bit more of a view of what's happening inside of my studio and why I do what I do on a regular basis and how I'm able to give y'all the Millionaire Morning Show. These are very, very huge. Like every last one of these pieces of artwork. And the thing about it, what makes this artwork really dope, because y'all actually seeing it in the reverse. So you're seeing it mirrored. So if you don't see it mirrored, it's going to look like that. So you can actually see the artwork a little bit differently. But the thing about every piece of artwork over here, none of this is like screen printed or anything like that. Every single stroke is hand painted. Every single stroke on this wall is hand painted. So when you see the albums, when you see Music Soul Child, Dr. Dre and all of that, here, let me give y'all a little bit of a closer look real quick so y'all can see what's happening. Can't believe we're doing this little impromptu thing, right? So every single stroke is hand painted. Everything, all of the blacks, everything on Snoop Dogg, all of this stuff is hand painted. So every piece of canvas, every board, everything that you see up here is done by one of my phenomenal female, beautiful, gorgeous female artists that I had in the studio. And often at times she gets commissioned by NBA teams to come in and do her thing. But she's great at what she does. So shout out to her. Yeah, man, everything has texture. I love it. So I am a fan of great artwork. Anyways, let's get started with the show. Enough of all of the foolishness. Make sure y'all get that Tiege Hanley sponsor of the show. We appreciate you, Tiege Hanley, for continuing to hold us down. Thank you. A lot of y'all actually took advantage of joining the Bag Chasers and the Patreon. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, if you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We continue to do great things. We running it up, and we about that business. All right, we about business all day long. Last but not least, tonight, Anton Daniels channel, live streaming, getting it in. That's absolutely going to be awesome. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we appreciate y'all for continuing to rock out with us, hitting a like for the algorithm, subscribing to the channel, and continuing to rock it out. Some people say, how long did it take? Months. That took months to complete. All right, so listen, let's go ahead and get started with the show. I'm about to read some of the super chats. Jamal Parks in the building says, when you were younger, Jamal Parks love asking all of these questions. When you were younger, you mentioned that you had a sales job. Was this commission? It was 100% commission. And did you do this full time or on the side? Nope. I did it full time. So my sales job was 100% commission, which actually changed my perspective towards things because you eat what you kill. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't kill, you didn't eat. And so it was no safety net. A lot of people get sales jobs and they get a base salary and all of that. And even if you only meet the base salary expectations, you still wind up getting fired because if you're not able to get no sales and you're not generating no revenue for the company. But the thing about sales is that I've learned how to overcome objection. I leverage my ability to be able to talk to people, including early experiences and going up to and talking to women and cold calling. And it was 100% commission. And it wasn't just me. It was me, and I had a little baby. Not the little baby, the rapper, but I had a small daughter. Wasn't even 1 year old, and I took a 100% sales commission job, and I used to hustle. I used to get it. Some of y'all have even seen me tell stories about when I would come home, my feet would hurt because I would just be I would be hitting it all day long, cold calling, hitting calls, building relationships, getting sales. And I did really, really well. I wound up being one of the top salespeople, and it did well. And so I was the type of person that I know we only worked Monday through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, I was still making sales calls. Early in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, because I can make as much money as I wanted to. And so it wasn't just, oh man, you got to be able to figure it out and go and get it and all of that stuff. It was more or less about the fact that I could make as much money as I wanted to. And I wanted to make sure that I took advantage of every single moment that I was awake. So once I got to the point to where I realized that I was going to be doing sales, it was over. I committed myself. I dedicated myself. I made sure I was groomed every day. I dressed up. I meet expectations. I learned law of averages. I learned people do things because they like you, not necessarily because you're the best person at the job. And it actually made me a better orator for the day. So, yep, that was absolutely one of the best things that ever happened to me. It was hard, it seemed like at the time, but it was absolutely one of the best things that ever happened to me. P. Shank says, good morning, Anton Daniels. I appreciate you, P. Shank. Thank you for supporting the platform. Stat Sheet Stuffer says, Time Dog, you plan on making that motivation you preached at the end of the yesterday's stream video? We need it listening while hooping at the gym. Yeah. So that drops tomorrow. The clip dropped for tomorrow. Devastator says, time for my favorite part of the show, quick hits. Yep, we're about to get into quick hits. I appreciate you, sir. I got to ask good questions. Yeah, you ask really, really good questions. You definitely get the most value out of your super chats. Also want to give an acknowledgement to a few people on the Cash App. I appreciate my Cash Appers. Thank you to Mike That Dude. And then thank you to my Michael. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you. So I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I guess it's time for quick hits. What y'all say? We get into quick hits? We got a lot to cover today, so I'm definitely going to get into it. All right, let's get into it. Quick hits, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go there. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that or believe that we have to bring visibility to every single thing that happens out in these streets, but I definitely want to tap in with y'all really quickly and tell y'all what's happening. So check it out. Quick hits, y'all.
It was an otherwise sunny and peaceful Saturday outside the Sanaa Cafe near the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. The serenity interrupted when this man walked past the cafe windows where customers worked on laptops and then turned and went inside, targeting a female customer.
The ladies, they screamed loud, so it was so scary.
This employee asked us not to use her name or show her face as she describes what she witnessed. She says the man went to the back and quickly grabbed a woman's MacBook before darting out the door. But watch what happens as he exits. Customers hot on his tracks tackle him less than 100 feet from the front door and hold him without hurting him until police arrive minutes later.
It surprised me, but yeah, I'm so happy when they do that.
And it wasn't just customers from inside the cafe that helped. There were patrons outside here too with their coffee and their smartphones in hand, and instead of stopping and taking video, they jumped up and helped a neighbor in need. A popular social media account at Frisco Live 415 posted video after customers jumped into action and the police response that followed. They talked to the first customer to reach the suspect.
Luckily, within seconds, everyone ran outside, so I just, told people to pick, someone on one leg, someone on another leg, and just hold his arms as well, just so he would stop trying to fight and hit me, and we could control him until the cops got here. And, they seem to get here pretty quickly.
It's very great seeing that that people aren't just bystanders.
In the meantime, customers at Sanaa Cafe say it's refreshing to see people helping someone in need.
The entirety of the community here just act on her behalf and, stand up for her. It's very reassuring, and it's like you said, it ignites my faith in humanity.
People acting on it, and a lot of people acting on it, I think it says a lot about this community.
We reached out to SFPD for more information, but a spokesperson said no details would be available until Monday.
The only way that you can solve for crime within a community, in my personal opinion, is by everybody getting involved that's a part of the community. That's the whole idea behind early neighborhood watches. That was the whole idea behind community policing. That's the real community policing. It doesn't mean that you remove the police that's already there. What it means is that everybody participates in the success of the community by being great stewards. And if you see something, say something. If you see something, do something. Don't let your neighbor get hurt. Don't let the people that surround you suffer as a result of it. And so that's the real logic behind community policing. Community policing is not supposed to be a situation where people suffer as a result of not saying anything. And I say this all the time. We absolutely know who the problem people are inside of the community. We know who the people are that's doing some of the worst things that's in the community. And so if you don't at some point make the adjustment and start participating in your own success, what happens is the property values go down. I was actually arguing and going back and forth with a guy yesterday that was on on after hours, and he was trying to tell me, oh no, everything is systematic, everything is this, everything is that. No, we can fix our communities if we really wanted to. We can help the police. We can make it easier. We can make it very, very difficult for people to wind up doing some of the egregious things that's against the police officers by really being proactive and participating in the success of our own community. So shout out to that. I definitely wanted to bring forth a good story that would highlight when you do the right thing, ultimately it makes it more difficult for criminals to then be able to perpetuate some of the crimes that they have perpetuated against humanity. In addition to that, over in Chicago, where they do no community policing, another man is dead and 2 men are injured in another shooting overnight. Check it out.
Now to breaking news, 1 man is dead and 2 others injured after a shooting in Inglewood last night.
This morning, Chicago police are looking for that shooter. CBS 2's Mugo Odigwe is live at the University of Chicago Hospital, where one of the victims is now being treated. Good morning, Mugo.
Yeah, good morning to you, Dana and Ryan. So Chicago police say they are still working to figure out what led up to the shooting, but they tell us the men were standing outside a store when shots were fired. So take a look at this video because you can see police officers out there investigating. That store is called Halstead Grocery and Liquor on 71st Street in Halstead. You can see several evidence markers on the ground, including one that's next to what appears to be a shell casing. Again, Chicago police say the men were standing in the parking lot of the store just after 9:30 last night when those shots were fired. One of them, a 35-year-old man, was shot multiple times and died at the hospital. A 38-year-old man is in the hospital right now with serious injuries. Finally, a 34-year-old man was treated and then released. Again, right now, Chicago police are saying the circumstances behind the shooting are not clear at the moment. They tell us.
Shout out to my girl Mugo. They got Mugo out in these streets working a late night shift. She went and got her makeup done, her hair did, lips did, all of that. And Mugo is out here continuing to report on all of the negativity that's happening out here in these streets. Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. I was telling my daughter, I was actually having a conversation with my daughter because we passed some new inspections. And so we got the insulation going up. That should be done on one of the properties. And then we have, the drywall people coming in, and we got so much stuff coming in, right? And I was talking to Leslie, and we was just kind of detailing what our plans was. And it's so refreshing because I have the type of relationship with my daughter where we talk about things. We talk about what our expectations are, where we want to go on a trip. We talk about our future plans. She tells me every day of what her plans are, how she's so confused as a teenager as to what she really want to do in life. And then I reassure her that, hey, whatever it is that you do, first you got to get this STEM degree. And then you'll always be able to stay with daddy, and you don't ever have to leave the house ever. You literally don't have to ever leave this house. You can stay here forever. But we was talking, and then I was telling her, hey, Les, as a 42-year-old man, I'm kind of sort of right in the middle on the back end of my life, right? I'm on the second half of my life. And she was saying that, you got so much life, and we was going through our plans. And I said, yo, I just don't have time for the nonsense no more, Les. In this second half of my life, everything has to be meaningful. I'm not going to be randomly standing outside on a corner store. I don't want to have any friends that's not adding value into my life that I can't add value back into their life. I don't want to have anybody that's hanging around me just for the sake of hanging around, but just mooching off of me. I don't want to have a bunch of friends and family that's just using me. I want to have every moment be meaningful. And so long life, healthy life, success, and I'm no longer ever going to be around the BS. I don't want to stand around on a corner store. I don't want to just kick it. I don't want to just show up to a family function and it just be that. You know what I'm saying? I want every single situation and every circumstance to be meaningful and to be useful and impactful. And I don't want to waste time. So many people waste time. We're going to get into the boomer wealth and conversation later on. But man, I don't want to be in a situation where everybody around me is just around me for the sake of being around. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, last but not least, Atlanta strip club Onyx. Remember when they did the heist on the gold and they stole all of the millions? Well, they did a similar situation with Onyx in that they came through the ceiling, apparently, and stole $250,000 in cash. Check it out.
And police are investigating a burglary at a popular strip club where two people stole hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash after they cut a hole in the building's roof. So take a look here. This is video from our 11 Alive Sky Tracker. You're looking at Onyx Gentlemen's Club on Cheshire Bridge Road. According to Atlanta police, two suspects, they cut a hole in the roof and then they climbed into the business around 4:15 Monday morning. They say the suspects used power tools to break into a safe containing around $250,000 in cash. If you have any information about the burglary, you're asked to call Atlanta police.
So, yeah, $250,000 in cash was stolen from an Atlanta strip club. Looks like they're going to really have to start backing the Brinks truck up again. And I don't know what to say. I guess I don't really care about gentlemen's clubs. The whole ego thing and filling strippers' heads with money. You know, I realized the other day, probably not the other day, probably about 6 months ago, that they take 10% of all of the ones that you buy inside of the strip club. Or at least in some of them they do. I just learned that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. Oh, man. Oh, shoot. I forgot I got my other screen up. Let me get that back popping. All right, we good. We back in the building. All right, so let me read a super chat, and then we're going to go ahead and continue on with the show. Jadia says, been watching your videos. Much respect. Do you think soon states will be segregated based upon political beliefs and values? I think that we already segregated. I think we are already segregated. I don't even think that the states will ever be segregated based off of political views because you have too many liberal cities that's inside of red states. So, for example, you got Texas, right? And Texas is a red state, but Houston is an incredible liberal city. Houston is very similar to Atlanta in that you have Georgia, which is a swing state, and I think that Texas could become a swing state if you get enough Californians to move there, which is one of the reasons why they say, you know, don't move to Texas, we full. They not. Go ahead and keep on going over to Texas, y'all. Tear up Texas, tear up Houston. Go move to Houston, specifically, move to Houston. But I think that you have too many liberal cities inside of red states and vice versa. You'll get a blue state, and then you'll have something like a New York or California, but you'll have too many people in there that actually have really conservative views, but just have the resources to be able to survive whatever happens within that liberal environment. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, great question. You guys are hitting me off with some good questions inside of the super chats today. Shout out to y'all. Michigan is the same. Yep, Michigan is absolutely the same. Absolutely. But I think that Michigan is probably going to swing a little bit more red this year. 100%, even though we got a blue governor. But then we'll have a red governor. So it's really a melting pot. It's a mixture. Let me continue on with the show. So California, speaking of liberal states, and we're going to put a time on this one. California, how California is dealing with its homelessness crisis. Now, one of the reasons why this is meaningful to me is because we talk about taxes. We talk about how much is being allocated to, and in these recent stories, especially over these last couple of days, one of the things that we've been very, very forthcoming about is the idea that schools and teachers are going to be laid off across the board. Now, why is that important? Because we always talk about whether or not we got the resources to do this. Oh, they sending money to Ukraine, they sending money over to Israel, they sending money to Taiwan. We fight multiple wars. Politicians ain't doing nothing. They mortgaging our future, giving it to the migrant crisis. Cool, awesome. But one of the things that they take so much money out of your paycheck for, especially over in California, is for homelessness, right? And the first thing that we need to pay attention to is the fact that we know that tent cities and homelessness is running rampant all across California, including San Diego, San Francisco, and even Hollywood. And if anybody has been across Hollywood, if y'all ever been down Hollywood Boulevard, it is one of the most derelict places that I've ever visited in my entire life. Derelict places that I've ever visited inside of my entire life. But because our legislators are unwilling to deal with the homelessness crisis the way that they're supposed to. And although we've funded them and we've given them billions upon billions of dollars of both state and federal money in order to do so, it always comes back down to the people doing the thing that's in their own best interest. So this is how businesses in Hollywood is starting to deal with the homelessness crisis, as far as the tent cities that often at times pop up right in front of their businesses. Check it out.
Giant planters appearing on local sidewalks, taking the place of homeless tent encampments, but it's not the city of LA that's installing them. Tonight, we've learned local business owners are behind it as they try to clear the streets of tents and save their businesses. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Caputo live in Hollywood tonight with the story. Tim.
And Mark, they of course look nice, but that's not why they're here. They're obviously very big, and check this out. They are incredibly heavy too. You could barely move them, and that's intentional because where you now see these planters, you don't see any tents.
You can barely navigate the sidewalk outside the iconic Sunset Sound studios.
We are completely barricaded by tents around here.
But in recent days, the area right by their entrance is mostly clear of the homeless encampment, thanks to the gigantic planters purposefully placed to make popping a tent nearly impossible. An expensive fix that businesses like Sunset Sound believe is worth the money.
We're not trying to displace anybody. It's more that we need to be able to get in our facility. This is a private studio right here, and you cannot even walk in because there's tents all through here.
In fact, there's now multiple planters outside several different businesses on Sunset, and people who live around here have taken notice.
Sometimes I got to walk on the street to get around it, so now it's just cleared out. So I don't know what that portion is about, but this one is very obvious to me.
Sunset Sound in particular has endured ongoing issues with the...
Do y'all know what engineering is? Do you really, outside of the definition of reality, do y'all know what engineering is? All engineering is solving for a problem, both current and that you don't even know exists yet. So, for example, a lot of people didn't realize that they wanted a smartphone or that they really needed a touchscreen smartphone until at the time Steve Jobs invented it for them. Now, they can't live without it. They don't even know. A lot of these people that are newer to the game, such as my daughter, can't even imagine and don't even know what they would ever do without a smartphone, right? It's no different from homelessness in tent cities. How do you prevent a problem that you can't necessarily solve for when it comes to it being public property, like, for example, tents on the sidewalk, because the private property is the actual studio. The public property is a sidewalk. And so how do you get your legislators to solve for a problem? Well, you don't ask the legislators to solve for the problem. You start to solve it for yourself, right? And so that's what engineering is. It's an engineering mindset. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually putting pen to paper. And that's why they have different types of engineers. You got civil engineers, you got software engineers, you got mechanical engineers. And so every last one of these people specialize in whatever it is that they're trying to solve for and making it a much easier, more pleasant, nicer to use, more profitable situation for the people that are. So what I call these people are unhousing engineers or sanitation engineers. You know how y'all really a janitor and you put on your resume, oh man, I'm a sanitation. No, you're not a sanitation engineer. It's called a janitor. But these people are called tent city unhoused sanitation engineers because they're solving for a problem that your legislators that make an egregious amount of money and get a lot of y'all tax dollars ultimately refuse to address.
Going issues with the ever-present homelessness right outside their studio. There's been fires and tents that spread to the building, break-ins where priceless equipment used to make legendary songs were stolen, all of it impacting their business.
So when Miley Cyrus or Taylor Swift or those artists come in, or Elton John, it's like that means the world to us. And they want to come here, but to be attacked or see nudity or crime, like that's not conducive.
Imagine being Elton John and you going into a legendary studio over in Hollywood in order to record, and you making a memorable moment, and you pull up and you can't get past the tent city in order to go into the studio. Imagine being a business owner that wants to work with and record with a legendary artist, and you can't because of a homelessness crisis that's happening right outside your door.
To being creative or feeling safe.
Drew Dempsey says one young woman who said it was her dream job to work at Sunset Sound recently quit because she didn't feel safe on these streets after dark. Businesses frustrated the city isn't doing more, and they're taking matters into their own hands. Those who live nearby appreciate the delicate balance of this never-ending battle.
I may understand the business point of view, pay a lot here for any kind of space, any kind of land, so you want it to be clean and inviting to your customers. But then again, at the same time, it's inevitable. You're going to find homelessness everywhere here.
And business owners tell me the city didn't necessarily sign off on these planters being here, so we don't know exactly how they feel about all this. We did reach out to the mayor's office and other city leaders this evening to get their take on these planters popping up and if the city would do anything like potentially remove them, but we have yet to hear back. We're live tonight in Hollywood. Tim Caputo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
So let's back up for a minute, right? And let's remember, the point of this story is how is California dealing with this homelessness? And why do we put so much money in? So I wanted to first bring to your attention how businesses are solving for the problem within their own environments, within their own communities, in front of their own businesses. But I also want to point out exactly how California and other cities are leveraging your dollars, your tax dollars, as being distributed under your nose to eradicate homelessness. Check it out.
Is revealing that after the city of LA shelled out $800 million to house the homeless, hundreds of apartments and motel rooms acquired with that money are sitting empty right now. Joining us now is reporter Jamie Page, whose team at the West Side Current has this exclusive reporting, which you can read online right now. Jamie, thank you for this important reporting. Can you give us sort of the bottom line version for people that may not have read it?
Yeah, the high view is that the city spent $800 million on properties that go anywhere from motels and hotels to high-end luxury.
Listen, y'all. Listen. This is a real number. Because we always say, oh, man, we can fix it. We can throw money at it. Chicago is literally going down the exact same path. He got voted down. But that doesn't mean he's going to stop. He said that he's dedicated to this. Brandon Johnson. Karen Bass, Los Angeles, mayor of Los Angeles, $800 million thrown at this nonsense, and it is vacant. It's vacant. Let me say this again, $800 million. I've read reports that the state of California annually at points have spent upwards of almost $28 billion over the years to address homelessness, and it's got nothing but worse. Brandon Johnson over in Chicago is trying to leverage and then raise taxes for both businesses and residents, as though y'all not taxed already enough, in order to do some of the same programs. And I'm wondering who got this $800 million. Listen, this is not a small amount of money. Everybody everywhere is making money except for the people that's supposed to be utilizing the services and the taxpayers that's supposed to be creating a better environment. $800 million in one city. One city spent $800 million. And then all of the buildings got tagged right outside the crypto arena. It's crazy. Crazy, bro.
Luxury buildings that still remain empty. We started reporting on this a year ago. My partner, Chris LeGras, decided to drive to a $50 million apartment building just out of curiosity to see what our taxpayer money was buying. And when he went there, it was empty. So him and I started driving around the city to go and look at other buildings. And subsequently, we found that hundreds of rooms remain empty. Again, some in high-end luxury buildings that that nobody is living in to this day. And I do want to say an important part of this research is we went during the day, during the week, just to see what kind of construction or activity was taking place. And only one location that we went to did we come across some construction workers.
So here's my question. As we know that this is taking place and that countless dollars are being used, spent recklessly, and being leveraged in order to continue to keep y'all running in the Victim Olympics. Here's my question. How come ain't none of y'all protesting about this? Y'all show up for every single thing that's not relevant in society. But nobody is actually showing up to highlight the recklessness and hold your legislators accountable for what you not getting in services, but that you spending in monies in order to eradicate a problem that's never going to be eradicated. Let me say that again. $800 million. This is not a joke. This is not a game.
At all locations.
We all drive by homeless people every single day. We also have talked to so many officials who say, if only we had a place to put them. There's no place to put them, which is why we have to leave them on the street. So how is this possible?
It's what we are asking ourselves and what I ask myself. I live in Venice, and when I see all the time the crisis that happens on our street firsthand, it's why we started the West Side Current. 5 people a day die on our streets, and we drove to luxury buildings, to hotel rooms that remain empty, vacant.
So, and you also found that the city was way overpaying for some of these properties, too.
Yes. In some cases, millions of dollars. And it's in our reporting. And I think people, if you can, go to westsidecurrent.com and look at this, because we give you plenty of examples of where properties we paid millions of dollars. In some cases, the developers bragged about setting records in the zip codes that they had sold the properties to HACLA.
So we know that this project, Home Key, was sort of an extension of the pandemic. It's something that Governor Newsom talked about often at different events. What is the city saying about this? What is the governor's office saying about this? What are they going to do next?
They're all finger pointing, which is what we typically see as journalists, right? It's this person's problem. It's this other person's problem. I do want to say that the Pico location that I see in those images that you show, there was a ribbon cutting with the governor on the top of that building, the Pico building. So the governor himself has been to this building that is part of our investigation. Again, a lot of finger pointing going on. HACLA says they buy the buildings. It's the city department that is supposed to be filling them. The city is saying that they're stalling because there's construction projects that need to be done. Again, in some of these brand new buildings, we're scratching our head asking ourselves what construction needs to be done. It has a certificate of occupancy. So, yeah, a lot of questions that we're still looking to answer. This is the first of a three-part series, but we know that there's many stories to come. This location that we just saw where the hazmat signs are still up, that building's been empty for years. The other location that you saw, that 121-room motel, remains empty 2 years after the city acquired it.
Yeah, that Pico location, I was at that ribbon cutting as well, and towards some of the property. And these are nice places, right, that are just as nice as, you know, many luxury apartments that are very expensive in places like the West Side. And yet it's crazy to think that these people sitting on the streets, dying on the streets, when that place is empty, and we spent so much money on it.
And it doesn't even matter. You know why? You want to know why it doesn't matter? Because we know that you're not going to care. Right after we get done doing this video, right after we get done doing this recording, we know that people are going to forget over in that particular city, and they're not going to care, and they're going to move on with their lives without holding their legislators accountable. $800 million and more down the drain. Let me continue on with the show, because I want to make sure that we continue to bring visibility to the issues that's meaningful to you guys. Shout out to Daddy Day Trips. Daddy Day Trip says, $750,000 a unit just to keep vacant. I built a triplex for $600,000 in Compton, Google Imperial and Broadway. And that S is a scam. We do protest. Ooh-wee. All right, Daddy Day Trips. And shout out to you for building a triplex for $600,000 in Compton. That's dope. That's pretty awesome. Let me continue on with the show. Thank you guys for continuing to support the platform. We got a bunch to get here. Let's get to the business aspect of things, right? It's Wednesday. we like to talk about the money. I want to go into Biden, right? Because Biden is going to receive a lot of credit for this, and I think that he should receive some credit for it. But Biden has decided that he wanted to put 100% tariffs. Shout out to sister. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. 100% tariffs on Chinese automakers. Take a look.
President Biden is taking a hard line on Chinese imports, charging a 100% tariff on electric vehicles. And that's just one product the administration is targeting, a move the president says will help U.S. companies counter the Chinese government's, quote, cheating and anti-competitive practices. CBS Nancy Cordes is at the White House with what this means for American consumers.
After years of warning China, President Biden put his pen where his mouth is today, quadrupling the tariff on Chinese EVs from 25% to 100%.
I'm determined that the future of electric vehicles will be made in America by union workers, period.
The move comes as EVs from Chinese automaker BYD gain traction around the world at about half the price of U.S.-made cars.
One thing that my grandfather used to always tell me are good things aren't cheap and cheap things aren't good.
Dorian Jimenez owns a Chevy dealership in Oklahoma City.
I'm glad that our government is going that direction, and the more things that we can keep in-house, the greater it can be for us.
Biden's hikes apply to far more than EVs. Chinese steel and aluminum will be hit with a 25% tariff. Solar panel cells will go to 50%, and so will Chinese syringes and needles.
Biden finally listened to me. He listens to me.
Former President Donald Trump hiked tariffs on a much broader swath of Chinese goods in 2018.
And you know what the funny part about it is, and this is the part that I want to emphasize. Trump literally did this in 2018. Biden in 2019, when they were campaigning for the presidential election that wound up taking place in 2020, actually said that he was against what Trump did when it came to tariffs on Chinese products at the time, especially considering that Trump also renegotiated the NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, with both Canada and Mexico. Let me say that again. At the time, Trump had already instituted and had became embroiled in a tariff war, which is one of the things that's been credited with helping to save the steel industry. And he went in during his presidency from 2016 through 2020 and implemented a trade war because he said that the ability for Chinese companies to do business and make profit from American companies, including automakers and stuff like that, was imbalanced. It was imbalanced. He accomplished more in his 4 years than any of the presidents in our lifetime, right? Now, here was the caveat though, right? And this is the part that people didn't pay attention to. Biden never ever removed the very tariffs that Trump put in place in order to protect American workers. But we don't get that part of the story. Let me say that again. He never ever removed the tariffs that was in place from Chinese companies or against the Chinese. He never removed the tariffs. He kept them in place because he's seen the effectiveness of it. And so now what he did was he piggybacked off of what the Trump administration had already implemented, and then he implemented more tariffs. Now, let me give Biden a little bit of credit. All right? Let me give Biden a little bit of credit because I always want to be objective, even though I think he's a terrible president. I always want to be objective. I think that this is a good thing. I think that it is a phenomenal thing, and I credit him with actually doing and continuing the thing that was already in place that was good for the American industries because, man, one of the reasons that is really good is not because capitalism shouldn't be free. It's because when you look at a comparison of what it takes in order to do business over in China versus what China is doing as far as doing business over in other countries, it's incredibly imbalanced. 1,000% imbalanced. So much so that Tesla was the first and one of the only manufacturers that was able to go over there and didn't have to partner with a Chinese company and then get all of their intellectual property stolen as a result of it in order to be able to do business over in China. And then all of the automakers, especially the electric automakers over there in China, was subsidized, meaning that they were able to operate at a much lower cost, which would have then drove a lot of the automakers over here in the United States of America out of business. And so he had to. Biden had to, because you can't say that you supported the union when then you letting everybody infiltrate, such as when Clinton did. Clinton, let's revisit it. Because all of y'all thought that Clinton was awesome. Clinton sold out American manufacturing to foreign investment 10 times out of 10, 100%. He gave it away. He gave away all of y'all jobs, and he sold y'all on a lie, and he was the one that helped build up the housing crisis that then ultimately imploded in 2008. 1,000%. So, yeah, I think that this is a good thing, but let's continue.
At the time, Biden argued that would spark a trade war, raising costs for everyone.
He did. Biden argued at the time that it would spark a trade war. Let me say it again. Biden absolutely was 100%. These politicians, they bank on the fact that y'all forget and that y'all got short memories because y'all like shorts and y'all don't like long form content. They're banking on the idea that you guys have short memories and you don't forget what it is that they said, because he was 100% against putting tariffs on Chinese and Chinese companies from doing business over here in the United States of America. 1,000% he said that he was against it, and he said it would spark a trade war. And look what he's doing. He's piggybacking off of it, and he's absolutely, positively implementing a trade war by making sure that he slaps a 100% tariff on any Chinese company that's choosing to do business inside the United States of America, specifically when it comes to manufacturing and battery sales.
After the wrong thing with China.
Even today, reaction from around the country was mixed. Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis said this is horrible news for American consumers and a major setback for clean energy. This tax increase will hit every family.
But the White House argues China's unfair trade practices have been hurting manufacturing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania. Those happen to be swing states as well, but officials here insist these new tariffs have nothing to do with the fact that we're in an election year, Nora.
Cap, because if he wanted to slap some tariffs on some people, then how come he didn't do it in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? Why is, listen, y'all got to start paying attention to the timelines. Why wasn't these tariffs implemented prior to 2024 election season, endorsement from the UAW, United Steelworkers? How come these tariffs wasn't implemented prior to that? Neither here nor there. Let's continue. Let me switch over to another report. I want to get it from another perspective.
This is a really big moment for the global economy because Joe Biden has imposed these tariffs. Let me just kind of show you what we're talking about with tariffs. Of course, that's the amount that you have to pay to get goods into a given country. And in the US, up until recently, actually, there was a standard car tariff, the most favored nation tariff, as it's known, 2.5%. So it wasn't much for China. It wasn't much for other places that are trying to send cars to the US. Then, of course, Donald Trump came in and he raised it. He raised it by 25%. A lot of people thought Joe Biden wouldn't continue that, but now he has actually gone further. He's doubled down. Actually, he's kind of quadrupled down on Donald Trump. A new 100% tariff. That's on top of the 2.5%. So actually, it's 102.5% tariffs. Enormous tariffs. And why is the US doing this? Well, partly it's because they're really worried about competition. They're worried about competition from China. And this chart really kind of shows you that story. It shows you global exports of cars from all of these countries. So the biggies, like the US, like...
So y'all like foreigns. That's what y'all say. Y'all like foreign women. Y'all like foreign cars. You like foreign foods. So you got South Korea, right? You got the Hyundais and the Kias. You got Germany. Yeah, I like Germany. I like Stuttgart, right? And so you got Germany, which, you got your Porsche, your Mercedes. You got all of that, right? And then you got Japan, which is your Hondas and your Toyotas. And so these are cars that are exported into the United States of America by country.
Germany, like Japan. And look at China, okay? So the red line here, it was really low for years and years and years, up until recently when it has overtaken everyone else. And why has it done that? It's because of electric cars. China's so dominant when it comes to electric cars. But here's the thing, they're not dominant when it comes to electric car imports into the US. This is showing you where the US is getting its electric cars from right now.
And this is one of the reasons why I keep telling you guys that y'all keep saying, we don't like electric cars, we don't like electric cars. I get it. I feel you. American tastes and the consumers within the United States of America is completely different from the rest of the world. But guess what? We're in a global economy. One thing that I will give Biden credit for is that he has the foresight to implement the infrastructure bill that ultimately incentivizes us to make the transition over to electric vehicles because it's coming no matter what. Why? Because again, it's in a global economy. One of the problems with American consumers and one of the problems with American voters is that they only see things through the lens of their own city, their own state, and their own country. And so even though you may say, well, I don't like Tesla, I hate Tesla. Well, basically you killing Tesla essentially opens the door to the BYDs and the Volkswagens and all of this stuff of people that are ultimately going to sell a S-load of cars here inside the United States of America. So we can look at it based off of our lens and what we've been trained to like or whatever, because we like our Hellcats, our Chargers, we like the V8s and all of that stuff. Cool. But guess what? We have to make decisions based off of a global competition and what's best for our children. And so you can always say, oh, okay, well, I don't like it, or I'm pissed at it, or I'm pissed at the infrastructure deal. But the reality is that if you want to continue to compete on a global scale and you don't want to continue to downgrade the American manufacturing process and you don't want to continue to import cars of something that's coming anyway, then you have to evolve and you have to adapt and you have to embrace what it is that they're doing on a global scale. Because when auto manufacturers are looking at things, they're not just looking to compete based off of here what's going on in America. They looking to compete on what's going on in the world. Ford sells cars in China. Ford sells cars in Europe. GM sells cars in China. GM sells cars in Europe. GM sells cars everywhere, right? And when I went over to Tokyo, I think I seen some Teslas, but I didn't see any GM, Ford, or anything like that, right? And so my point is that, you know, when you looking to make a move or when you making a decision, you making a decision based off of the long-term view and not just the short-term impact, right? We're going to say, oh my God, only thing we want is oil-based cars or we want gasoline cars. I feel you. I like gasoline cars too, but I also am paying attention to what exactly type of future that my daughter is going to live in. Let's continue.
And look at China, red bit over there. It's really small, actually. If I kind of just pull that across there, you see it's one of the smallest importers into the US. But of course, you've got the EU there, you've got South Korea. A big question is how many Chinese components are going into Mexican cars that then go over the border. We don't really know what's going to happen with that. What we do know is a lot of the components inside of electric cars, because it's not just about the car, it's about what goes inside it, they also come from China. So you've got the battery, the cell, as people call it. This is showing you global dominance of China. The red bits there is Chinese dominance. That dark bit there, that's the US. You can see how dominant China is when it comes to the cells, but also the chemicals inside the cells. The cathodes, China massively dominant there. The anodes, the graphite that you need inside these batteries as well. And we could extend this and look at other things as well, like hydrogen. You could look at concrete, you could look at steel. China incredibly dominant. And all of the point here is the US is trying to increase its share, but it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be difficult too, not just for batteries, but also for solar as well, because look at how China is way ahead of the rest on that as well. So it's only...
I don't understand why y'all disagree. What do you disagree with? I tell you what, just for the sake of conversation, I'm going to entertain you. I'm going to oblige you, okay? I'm going to allow for you to be able to come up and say whatever it is that you disagree with and give me the insight behind why I'm wrong when it comes to how it is that we're supposed to be pivoting ourselves and positioning ourselves as far as manufacturing is concerned. I will oblige you. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for anybody that disagrees with me, and you are more than welcome to be able to come up here, and you don't have to be on camera. But help me to understand, specifically when it comes to manufacturing electric vehicles, what do you disagree with? Nah, don't get scared now. Feel free. I just dropped the link in the chat. I'm not going to pin it to the top of the chat, but feel free to come up here and help me to understand where I'm wrong at, all right? Let me go ahead and show you this last video, and then we're going to continue over as far as this conversation about manufacturing and the tariffs over in China.
Well, we're going to kick things off with a deep dive into President Biden's tariffs. Biden is raising tariffs on clean energy goods from China. That includes things like electric vehicles, batteries, and solar panels even. So let's take a step back and define what a tariff is. Tariffs are a tax imposed by one country on the goods and services imported from another country. So why raise tariffs? Well, President Biden is concerned that China is using unfair trade practices to keep most of the global production and manufacturing in the country. So in an effort to promote industry growth here in America, Biden is raising the rate of the tariffs on certain goods imported to the U.S. from China, hoping American companies then will build more here instead of buying from overseas.
Hey, what's going on, Jarius? Jarius.
Hello?
Hey, what's going on? What do you disagree with?
I know you were on the subject about EVs and how we need to position ourselves as a country for a global market. What I disagree with you about is the whole global market thing. One of the problems with EVs is that some of the other markets, even they don't even like EVs like that. They don't like that the governments over there are forcing it on them with the whole emission standards, and you know how they want to move to a pollution-free environment. So like even them, they don't like it either, because what's causing them to do is their businesses they're having problems transitioning, because now you have to invest in all this infrastructure as far as doing the charging stations. Where are you going to get the power from? And investing inside the trucks and technology, finding people to fix it, the dealer support, the batteries, manufacturing. Like, it's a lot that goes into that.
So what country in particular are you referring to? Give me an example.
So I know, so it's this guy that I watch inside the UK. His name is Daniel Ashfield. He has a construction company, and big YouTuber, black guy actually. He has this construction business, and he for the most part he has probably 40-50 trucks. But one of the things that he's been running into over there, and he's been working with their local government, is he's been running into the issue of trying to transition his whole fleet into electric trucks. So he was just talking about how much it costs to do that. So they've been looking into different options, whether to subsidize it, whether to give him a tax incentive to transition his fleet of trucks. So that was just one of the things, but it's just, you know,
So so let's back up here. Let's back up here. So you're talking about costs, right? And you're talking about a business person that's saying that they're trying to figure out what the cost is to continue to transition over into what eventually is going to become a norm within their market, right?
Right.
So again, that's just a normal business expense that somebody is complaining about. That does not necessarily mean that there are not massive countries that are absolutely positively going over into moving over into EVs. That's just the way that it is. China itself is literally the second biggest market when it comes to automobile purchases and manufacturing, and they literally are moving into a 100% EV future. And so if you want to compete in the second biggest purchasing market and growing, where people are literally only buying EV vehicles, you have to transition.
I think I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have EVs. What I'm saying is for our government to force it down our throats, to almost mandate it. If technology is better, if it's that much better, trust me, you know, I believe in capitalism. Capitalism will solve that. But it's It's us being forced is what we don't like. Currently, when you see that,
Listen. Capitalism doesn't solve for infrastructure. That's literally what we pay taxes for. Capitalism doesn't solve for infrastructure at all. So I'll give you an example. One of the reasons why it's so difficult for us to adjust when it comes to anything that happens within the economy as far as moving in a completely different direction. I'll give you an example. AI, right? We aren't ready for artificial intelligence because we have no way to continue to regulate it inside of the United States of America, right? There are no consequences. There's no way for us to be able to punish offenders. If somebody creates a deep fake video, if somebody messes with the election process or whatever, it's very difficult for us to be able to adjust for that. Content creation is another thing, right? Content creation is big, but the IRS has literally been very, very slow to adjust to a completely different new field, even though social media has been around for a long time. And so what you find in a lot of content creators doing is that they're having a hard time debating between the IRS as far as what a write-off is and what isn't, because it takes a long time for the government to continue to adjust to whatever the market is going. EVs, they largely ignored EVs because they didn't think that Tesla would be a thing. And now what they're saying is the biggest problem is they're saying, well, we don't have the grid, we don't have the infrastructure. Well, that's because we never invested in the infrastructure. If you look at a lot of these other countries, right, the market supports the infrastructure upgrades because they then invest more money into their roads, they invest more money into their infrastructure and less money into social services, which then allows for the market to mature the way that it's supposed to when you're looking at it from a global view. And so you're only looking at it and you saying, well, we're not ready for it or they shouldn't be forced down our throat. What do you think that seatbelts are? What do you think that emissions is? All of these things are literally forced on us in order to create an environment based off of whoever it is that votes whoever it is in the office. So when you get a Joe Biden in office, even though I didn't vote for him, when you get somebody like a Joe Biden in office and he says, hey, listen, I got this infrastructure deal we about to do. We're about to do this. We're about to do the CHIPS Act and all of this stuff. He told y'all what he was going to do. When you get a Brandon Johnson, when you get a Brandon Johnson in office, he tells you what he's going to do. And so when you vote for these people in the office, whether you disagree with them or not, they then are in charge to make the deals or to improve the infrastructure based off of where they see the economy going. And so right or wrong, like it or not, when you vote these people in office, it's not that they're forcing it on you. They're giving you what they already campaigned that they were going to do as far as making sure that they compete in the global market.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the infrastructure, I agree with every single last point that you just made when you talk about infrastructure. America hasn't invested inside the infrastructure. There's no reason why we don't have those speed rail trains like how the other countries do it. Why we got bridges that are and you up in Michigan, how y'all had water treatment plants that are literally failing. Same here with me. I live inside Toledo, Ohio, and we had the same problem too. America definitely has aging infrastructure. And it definitely needs to be addressed. I think the problem is with me when it comes down to Biden. If they do have this aspiration of forcing us, it doesn't seem like the Infrastructure Act was enough to get the infrastructure that needs to be built to make sure that EVs will be a good choice and a good option for business owners. I don't think the Infrastructure Act was enough. I think we're going to need literally pretty much a total overhaul.
Well, everything is transitional. Everything, it's not supposed to be a one shot. It's supposed to be a long-term deal, right? So, I mean, I don't completely disagree with you. I'm just saying that for a lot of people, they always say that they don't want change, but change is constant. It's coming. And whether you like it or not, the United States of America is no longer the place that determines what change is going to happen in a global marketplace. We used to be the market leaders and say everybody was, is following the Pied Piper of America. that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh no, no, and I agree with you to some extent. It's just what is the timeline for that? How do we transition? I get what you're saying. We are going to transition to other ways of power and vehicles and stuff like that. I do think electric motors is a way, but I'm thinking more so hybrids would be probably more dominant than a full out electric vehicles will be. Um, that's what I think. But it's just how we make sure that it's a smooth transition.
There's never going
We're
to be a
not
smooth
taking too.
transition, ever.
You don't
It's going
think
to be
so?
kicking and screaming all along the way.
Got it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming up, big dog.
Absolutely, bro.
All right. Is it Leroy? Let's see if we can get Leroy up here. What's up, Leroy? Leroy going once. Leroy going twice. Steve. Steve, you there?
I'm here, AD. How you doing?
What's going on? What's your thoughts?
Big fan, man. Usually I agree with you on most stuff, but I'm coming at this from two ways. I'm a lifelong Wall Streeter, and I'm also a trained mechanic. I'm an ASE certified engine builder in a previous life.
Got you.
So I'm coming at you from the perspective of the infrastructure, right? There was an article out there maybe a year and a half ago, somewhere outside of Chicago. They wanted to transition everything over to electric vehicles, garbage trucks, so on and so forth. When they reviewed this proposal, they came out and they said the amount of energy that it would take for the base charging station for all of these city vehicles, etc., would exceed the amount of power that the city takes in right now to power all homes, everything all combined. It comes down to energy density. So I think maybe in the future, but you're talking battery technology has to take a leap 20, 30 years to get where you're talking
I don't think
about.
so. I don't think so. So if you, for example, if you look at Tesla's Powerwall, for example, and how they've basically transitioned a lot of these countries to be supplemental off the grid, Tesla's infrastructure, which we don't even necessarily use here in the United States of America to a larger extent, Tesla's Powerwall and what it is that they've set up as far as in other countries absolutely puts energy back into the grid when they embrace it correctly. And so the way that we have our infrastructure set up currently versus how we should have it set up in the future. And I think that over time, technology continues to improve. One of the things that happens, especially when it comes to newer technology, is the more that we drive to it and the more that we adopt it, the further down the cost drives. The further down we drive the cost, which ultimately yields a more conducive environment for us to continue to invest in the infrastructure. But I do believe that there is technology that already exists, absolutely. Whether or not we want to embrace it or whether or not we're incentivized to do so is a completely different conversation.
So the Tesla Powerwall, I just went through maybe 8 or 10 different companies' a proposal for solar for my house. Tesla Powerwall.
And I'm not just talking about residential. I'm also talking
about.
No,
totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So I get that, and what was the other one? Enervest or Evergy or whatever it was just came out with a battery that they're saying, has more charge cycles than the Tesla solar wall. Whatever the case is. At the end of the day, you still have a set amount of charge cycles before batteries, et cetera, have to be replaced. But overall, if we're talking about large solar farms,
I agree.
The amount of solar that you need currently, same thing.
I don't think it's just solar, though. I think that it's a lot of different energy infrastructure projects that could power that. Like one of the things that we are really starting to lean more into is nuclear energy. they're trying to get away from a lot more coal factories. So the actual energy storage, not the energy storage itself, but the infrastructure by which we generate electricity in the first place. I think that's one of the things that we do have to solve. And I don't think that solar alone is the answer.
Oh, I'm with you, sir. Nuclear is our savior, and it's odd that the same people that are, quote unquote pro environment are so anti nuclear, because of minor incidents throughout history that, in this country are very limited compared to other countries. France is a great example. Look at the amount of electricity they produce from nuclear. I'm totally on board with that. But I don't, that's red tape and stuff in this country that red or blue, no matter who you ain't, that you're fighting a real uphill battle for.
Yeah, I don't think that electric is the end all be all. I think that it's a stopgap.
It's fair enough.
I think that it's a stopgap. I think that it's a future temporary solution for a long-term problem.
But what do you think about individuals rejecting it at like the consumer level? I mean, look at what Ford completely turned around their EV production. Other than like Asian producers right now who are amping up, Kia is coming out with a lot, but the U.S. companies are seeing their EV, divisions. They're reducing them. Customers seem to be rejecting them tons of lots. I mean, I know you just bought a Porsche, right? You see what's going on when you want to try to get a GT3, right? They try to sell you 3 or 4 Taycans first.
I got a Taycan too. I got an
yeah. I know you do. But if you go on Auto Trader, you see there's a ton of brand new Taycans out there coming straight from the dealership. So it's, I think from a perspective of an individual consumer level, aside from infrastructure, I think it's expensive for the consumer. It's unreliable outside of a city. If you're doing any kind of drive, I'm from New York. I'm down in Florida now, so I can tell you the difference from the amount of driving I did in New York, 0, and the amount of driving I do down here all day, every day
I drive my car every day.
Oh yeah, well you're in a city. It's a lot easier. Charging stations are more readily available.
I drive from the suburbs down into the city when I'm not in the city. So like for last night, a lot of people that was watching the after hour show, you could tell that I was in my spot out in the suburbs, which is 45, 50 minutes outside of the city. And then I drive back down into the city, and I drive my Taycan every day.
And you don't find, even with the cold, you don't find a reduce in battery, or you don't have any issues ever?
Most of the time, I can get up to 300 miles on a charge.
That's pretty good.
In the wintertime, it probably reduces to about 270, 260, somewhere in there between 270 and 260.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not bad. Definitely not bad.
And I never go to a gas station. I've never, not a gas station. I never go to a charging station. Mike, I just set my stuff up overnight, plug it in, and then I keep it moving. So, and I haven't seen any, over 3 years, it's been almost 3 years since I had my Taycan. I haven't seen any battery degradation as far as it reducing the capacity in the battery itself. So,
had you had any?
Somebody said I won't travel in it. What are you talking about? I went all the way to Pittsburgh in a Tesla. I drove the Tesla all the way to Pittsburgh, from Detroit to Pittsburgh and back. So I don't know what they're talking about.
So I mean, that's the thing, and that there's a lot of conflicting information. You see, there was that congresswoman who did that trip in California who didn't make her destination, had to stop 6-7 times to refuel in a 2-day trip all the way down California. And
I didn't see that one, but yeah, I feel what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, and that's the infrastructure aspect of it, right? So, I mean, I don't think that it's a perfect solution. My argument is that it's coming. Regardless of whether we like it or not, it's coming.
Yeah, I'd like to see the advancement, like I said, prior to them kind of mandating it or making it more abundant. I'd like to see that. And I think too, from a level of, from the mechanic perspective, right? Like a combustion engine, something goes wrong. I mean, obviously not these modern cars where everything is a mess under the hood, but something that somebody can generally fix. Like, anything prior to 2015, you can replace a head gasket in your driveway over the weekend. When you get into these electric cars, like your required dealership, and then you're talking about
I haven't
some of
had
these
any
reports.
maintenance for the Tesla or the Porsche outside of wheels and tires.
That's great.
I've
But
had
you are seeing some
zero
of these people talking
maintenance.
about 20-30K for a battery replacement. Some of these people are saying.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I had zero maintenance. I probably saved way more money. The only difference is, to be honest, I paid more in insurance.
Okay.
But I haven't, as far as the cost of having a vehicle itself, it's been a dream, to be honest with you.
Fair enough, man. Well, appreciate debating a different point of view.
Yep. So, all right, my friend. Thank you, bro.
You will.
All right. Here, let's do this. I'll give somebody one chance. I don't know why this guy's calling. Man, what are you doing? Yo. Sir. Gangster love character. Let's see if I can get him up here. He really wants some attention. What's up, man?
Gangsta love. What up? What up, Twan?
Why you keep sending me all of these emails, bro?
So look, I called you because I didn't want to argue.
Why
Can you
don't you
hear me?
just leave me alone, man?
I just want to get an understanding, bro. I'm not harassing you. And then when you
You
told
are. You
your
keep
side of the
sending me
story,
emails. You keep sending me emails
I
saying
didn't send
coon
you
and
no
all of this
email
shit.
today. What are you talking about?
Man, you sent me
Listen,
like
I just
40
called to get an
emails over the
understanding.
last month.
I didn't. What are you
You
talking about?
did.
Okay, listen. I just called to get an understanding with you, man,
Did you
because
send me an
listen,
email yesterday?
I did, sir.
Why do you keep sending me emails? You a married man, bro.
I am. But can I say, listen, can we just have a conversation like two men?
No, I don't
I
want
know
to
you
have
don't.
a no. I don't negotiate with terrorists, bro. I
I'm not
don't
a
want to kick
terrorist.
it.
That's
I don't want to kick it. I don't want to be friends. I don't want you emailing me. I don't want you calling me. I don't want none of that shit. Just cut it out, bro. Keep it moving.
and I get that, but can I say my piece?
No, just don't call me. I don't owe you nothing. We not cool. Don't send me no more emails. Don't call.
So look, when you told your side of the story, you forgot to mention something.
Fam,
Am I right or
don't
wrong?
send me no more emails. All right.
I haven't emailed you no more, but that's what I'm
You
saying.
emailed me
You didn't
yesterday,
tell the
bro.
whole side of the story.
You
I
emailed
did
me
not
yesterday,
email you
bro.
yesterday. It was the day before yesterday.
Okay,
It
day
was the
before
day before
yesterday, you
yesterday.
emailed me the day before yesterday. Fam, you are a grown
Right.
man. You got a regular
I
job.
am.
You got a family. Focus on your family, bro.
I am. But
Okay,
you told a
so
lie
that's
on
it.
your
That's
you
it.
told a
That's it.
lie.
That's
You
it.
told a
That's it.
lie, man.
That's it,
You
bro.
say you
That's
don't
it.
lie. Why would you tell a lie? Now you don't
Family.
want to let me speak my
Okay.
piece.
What lie did I tell?
So look, initially when I called you and I was like, hey, I paid for my not tutorial session with you, but a
Coaching
mentoring
call.
session. Yeah, coaching call. So
Uh-huh.
look, this is when your wife was having her surgery.
Surgery.
And
Correct.
and the original day that you were supposed to give me my scheduling call, you never called me. So I sent you an email saying, hey Anton, I understand that you're dealing with your wife, and hey, take care of her first, and then get back to me once you get taken care of her. I said that it's in the email. So
Family.
then
Family.
on the
Family. Family. Did I send you your money back
yes,
voluntarily and told you we off?
you did, but I'm saying I asked you
So
why.
you
I'm
got
like,
your
what
money.
kind of man
Hold
do
on,
that?
wait. You got your money. It's nothing else to talk about. You didn't even ask me for a refund. I voluntarily said, hey, listen, I don't fuck with you. I'm going to send you your money back. I don't owe
So
nobody
you got
nothing, none of
mad.
that, bro.
So you got mad because I think the joke what made you you got in your feelings about is when I said you had said something and then I said you not a blackity black and then you start laughing but you was kind of hurt about it. I'm like, nigga, you tripping on somebody saying their opinion about you, but you can get on your show and talk shit about people and you don't realize, bro, the
Bro,
people
I
that you
do
be
not
talking about got
care.
family members.
I do not care about blackity black nothing, bro. That's not the first time. Here's the thing, bro. You sent some wild fucking emails. And I don't want to go
Did
back and
I ever
forth.
threaten you?
Listen, listen,
Did
listen,
I
bro,
ever did
bro,
I ever
bro,
say anything
bro,
about your
bro,
wife?
bro,
Did I
bro,
ever say
bro,
anything
bro.
about your kids?
Listen. Just move on.
I am moving on. But
So
I'm
why you
telling
still
you, if me and
calling?
you see each other, because,
Why are
bro,
you
like I
still
said,
calling
me
me,
and you
bro?
gonna
You
see each other
listen.
at
You
some
will
point.
never ever see me in life. Ever. You don't have to worry about me.
I
It's
promise you
9
I
billion
will. I
people.
promise you.
It's 9 billion people on the face of this earth. You can move on with your life,
Let me ask you
and you got
something.
a whole family to go home to.
Let me ask you something. I do. And you should go home to yours. But do you be at the boxing fights? Do you go to boxing fights?
Christ, bro. Bro, please stop reaching out to me respectfully, bro.
I'm just telling you, if I see you in person and I say, hey Anton, this is the gangster love. I'm saying what's up to you, bro. You was talking shit about me. I'm gonna ask you gonna say it in my face. And a nigga ain't trying to fight you. It ain't even a fighting. That's what you don't understand, bro. You mad because other niggas out here is doing just as well as you, but you want to be the only nigga in charge. You want to be the big face of this shit. But bro, you ain't nobody know you outside of Detroit. I asked niggas in Detroit, do they know you? They said, hey, love, I don't even know this nigga. Who is he? They had to go research you on YouTube. Niggas don't even know you like that. That's
I'm
what I'm
cool. I'm
telling
cool.
you.
Listen.
You
Listen.
only
I'm
big to
cool with
these
that.
people on YouTube.
I'm with that. I'm cool with that. I don't want no problems with nobody. God bless y'all. I'm not a real nigga. I'm not in the streets. I'm not trying to be. I'm a family man. I'm a father, and I'm a live streamer. I'm an online internet guy that live streams. You ain't got to ask about me to nobody. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be in your social circle.
Nah,
I
bro.
don't. No. Listen. I don't want to be in your social circle. You don't have to mention me. We don't know each other in real life. We don't owe each other no money. All you got to do is move on with your life. That's all I'm saying. I don't want no problems. I'm never gonna fight
And I'm
nobody.
cool with
I'm,
that.
I'm never gonna get into it. All I ask
We
you to
ain't gonna
do,
fight.
all I
Why you
ask you to
keep
do,
saying that?
because
Why
you
you
keep
keep
talking
saying
about if I
that?
see you in the street, are you gonna say something in my face? No, I'm not. I'm gonna be with security. I'm not gonna even be near you. You ain't gotta worry about it. All I'm saying is, can you please stop sending me emails and you
I'm
don't
just
ever have
okay.
to call
Listen,
into the show?
I won't email you no more. I just wanted.
Thank you, bro.
Listen. This will be my last time calling. I won't email you no more. I just wanted to tell you that shit that you did. That's what whole niggas do, and I'm telling you. And I'll
Got it.
tell you to your face. And it
You
ain't no
don't have to
threat,
tell me
nigga.
to
I'm
my
just
face.
telling you that shit
I
that you
don't want
did
no
was
problems.
gay.
I don't want no problems. I don't want you to tell me to my
Ain't
face.
no problems. I already
I'm
told you
cool.
that. You
Yep.
want it to be a problem, nigga. Ain't no problems.
All
Ain't
right,
no
cool.
problems. I
So
already told you
so
that.
you
Why you
agree
keep trying to make this to be big?
you agree you called in here. You agree not to call me no more and everything, right?
I
Not to send no
did.
emails.
Because
Okay,
when I
cool.
was
So we
emailing you,
good.
would
So we
not
good.
email me back. And
So
I
we
asked
good.
you.
Are we good?
Okay, so we good. That's it, bro. That's
God
it.
bless
That's
you.
all I wanted was a slight understanding. That's it.
God
Why you
bless you.
making it a big deal?
I'm not. I said God
Same
bless
to
you.
you, bro.
What in the world? Do y'all see why I don't take calls on the Millionaire Morning Show no more? Do y'all see why I don't take calls on the Millionaire Morning Show anymore? It's insane. This is going to wind up being a 3-hour show, just to let y'all know. So y'all got to get ready. We're going to go into overtime. We definitely going to continue to run it up. But this is why, honest to God, why I do not take calls, why I do not kick it, why I'm not interested in going back and forth with people, why I decided to turn off the thing, because I don't know what this is, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what this culture is where everybody is so focused on the idea of being so real. When I see you in the streets, man, I'm not threatening nobody. I am a family man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be the realest N-word in the streets of Detroit. I want to go have fun, hang out with the ladies, spend time with my wife, and take my daughter out to eat and have a good time. Man, I'm not about to be sitting here arguing back and forth with y'all. God bless y'all. Listen, all I ask is don't send me no more emails. Don't do none of that. I know y'all connected in the streets and all of that. I'm not. I'm connected in the business community, and I would like to continue to do business with people that's going in the direction that I'm going in. So if y'all want to do that, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. God bless y'all. Y'all can have the streets. I want the boardroom. So good luck to y'all. Good luck with that. Anyways, I thought that was a good segue. You never know what you're going to get on the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. You know what I'm saying, Travis Allen? I'm chilling. Why would I want to be in the streets? I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm not about to be fighting y'all. God bless y'all. God bless y'all. Shout out. Oh, man, I got people hitting me off with the bigger bag out here in these streets. First of all, shout out to Sister. Sister says, Mr. AD, did the hospitality hotels industry get their reparations from COVID and CA? Well, yeah, actually they might have. Because I heard that they spent a lot of money for migrants and stuff over there in order to stay housed in the hotel industry over there in CA. So I don't know, boo. I don't know. Let me do some research on that. A says, how can they keep these places open when no one is renting? Can this be considered a lose and write-off, allowing the owners to hold out like so? No, all of these places are built. They are purchased by the city and owned by the city and supposed to be ran by the city, funded by the taxpayers in order for these people to wind up getting into these homeless people to get into these facilities. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Running it up. First of all, let me get my look at what's going on out in these streets. Acosta ETF. My dog says, AD, your influence is ineffable. Even when some of us aren't actively engaging in the chat, rest assured we're silently absorbing and gleaning insights from your wisdom. The remarkable financial milestones we've reached in our 2 years together speaks volumes. Your wisdom, courage, and unwavering work ethic are sincerely valued and appreciated. Man, let me give another round of applause for my dog, Acosta. You know this is one of my students, right? You know this is one of my people, right? You know this is one of my students, right? Man, let me tell y'all something, man. Over here on the Millionaire Morning Show, we focused on getting the bag and leveling up. Y'all can have the street life. Y'all can have the hood. Y'all can have y'all cultural appropriation. Y'all can have y'all blackity blacks. We are 100% focused on driving success, growth, and sustainability within our households to continue to do the best thing in our environment and in our communities. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate. Let me give you another one, bro. Shout out to you, big dog. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Life Visconi in the building says, I want to come up just to filibuster your decisions to entertain the nonsense. Allegedly, there is more bad emissions coming from cattle, farts, and burps. No, it is. That's a fact. I watched a Netflix documentary on that one. Shout out to my dog Life Visconi over there in Chi-Town. Ken J says, Tesla is the only real player in the game. Everyone else just has to toe in the water, except the Chinese automakers. They running it up. A.R. Smitty says, what up, Ton Don, and the Bag Chasing family? Finding this show in the past year has been such a blessing. This information, as well as the chat and Patreon, have become so vital and truly life-changing. Blessed. Shout out to my Bag Chasing family. Make sure y'all tap into that Patreon. Cultivator says, I think Chrysler is onto something with the Ram charger technology. EV is the way to go. The cost on the front end offsets the price of gas. Well, you would have to live with it, and a lot of people haven't lived with EVs in order to be able to understand that. A.R. Smitty says, don't get it, hashtag go away. JP07 says, AD, I bet you 1 year free Bag Chasers membership. He emailed you this afternoon. Let's just hope not. Let's hope everybody moves on with their life and we all live good. Big Sean pranking you. Maybe. Ted Coach Ralph is in the building, says, shout out to the Chasers, the best community around. They kept me accountable last night. Reminder, Kanban training in the Discord this Saturday night. Discord, join the Discord. The link is in the description of any of the most recent videos. I feel sorry for this dude and his family. A.R. Smitty says he's married. Hashtag pray. Dear Slim, I wrote you. You still ain't calling. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. Spider Clamp says, straight up, your successes is agony. Nah, man, we love everybody, bro. Shout out to Room 9, says Noble Xavier. Yes. A Done 920 says, Anton, a real champ on a Wednesday. Gangsta Boo came back with that nonsense, made my Wednesday. In the chat, funds for the collection plate. I'm glad y'all entertained. Dizzy says, Gavin Newsom blamed the deficit on climate change. No, that's cap. And shout out to my dog, Arthur Strong, out here with the 50 ball. Gave me a super sticker for $50. Y'all are really, really supporting Time Dog out here in these streets. I appreciate y'all. Y'all ready to continue on with the show? We're going to do a long one today. We going overtime. Overtime, like Nipsey Hussle says. All right, y'all, let's continue on. So, inflation relocation. Do y'all know what inflation relocation is? A lot of cities and a lot of places are paying for people to move further out and away from cities. And then in addition to that, home prices is continuing to explode over there in California. Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's happening out in these streets. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it in.
In tonight's Making in the Bay report, a milestone that's happening right now. The median price of a home in Santa Clara County is now $2 million.
Yeah, not eye-opening. I'm going to call it downright shocking. Our business and tech reporter Scott Budman joins us now. People in other parts of the country, when you say $2 million, cannot believe it.
Right, and that's a median, which means there's a whole lot more that you can spend in Santa Clara County. And Raj and Jess, it's a combination of things. Santa Clara County is, like the peninsula, red hot when it comes to tech. It's home to Apple, NVIDIA, AMD, Google, Supermicro, Intuit, just to name a few. It's also where home buyers are competing for a small number of homes, and that's driving up prices.
It's a nice house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but what makes this Santa Clara County home average is its price, $2 million.
That's insane, bro. Honest to God, that is insane. Shout out to Sis. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Do you know why that's insane? Because 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, that should never, ever, under any circumstance, be $2 million. I just built the house that was bigger than this, and I don't care where the location is. I don't care if you sitting in Hawaii. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, under no circumstances should ever be $2 million. Y'all are smoking. Man, do y'all know how much $2 million is for 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms? Hold on, let's really break this down real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let's see if we can get this together. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, $2 million. All right. I just want y'all to understand what's happening out here in these streets, all right? So let me see if I can pull this up. Three bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, right? And $2 million. Let's really put it in perspective. We're going to use a mortgage calculator. And so let's say the loan amount, let's say you put 20% down. 20% down of $2 million is $400,000. So first of all, you coming out of $400,000, all right? No, I'm sorry, that's the loan amount. The loan amount is $1.6 million. So after spending $400,000, if you get a 30-year fixed mortgage and you include taxes and fees, you essentially paying $1,300 a month. Your property taxes is supposed to be $25,000. Home insurance, $7,000 yearly. Jesus Christ. Unreal. Putting 20% down. Now, let's say you don't have 20%. Let's say you got $100,000. And your interest rate is 7%. And you got PMI, so private mortgage insurance, it's going to cost you $1,200 every single month. And that's assuming that you don't have an HOA fee. With a 700 credit score, $25,000 yearly in property taxes, $7,000 in home insurance. In Michigan, let's say California. Let's go over to California. Let's put all of the stuff in. You're going to be paying $16,500 a month. And that's not including maintenance, utilities, homeowners association, everything. $2 million home price, $100,000 down. You paying $16,000 a month. That is absolutely, positively out of control. Absolutely, positively out of control. I just want y'all to know what y'all dealing with, all right?
It's a milestone and inevitable at the same time.
Yep, that's realtor Holly Barr showing us around a $2 million home. Now the median price.
Look at that basic house. Look at that. Listen, and it's nice. Is it $2 million nice? Absolutely not. No way.
If you want to buy in Santa Clara County.
I think people have been waiting to buy a house, and I think stocks have gone up for people, so they have more money to spend, I'm seeing.
If you spending $25,000 in property taxes and $7,000 a year in insurance, you're going to be paying somewhere close to $2,500 a month in just property taxes and insurance alone. A lot of people keep talking about what it costs to be rich. It costs a lot of money to live a certain lifestyle. $2,500 a month in property taxes and insurance alone. And that ain't even got nothing to do with the mortgage.
50% down payments. I'm seeing 100%. As always, all cash.
But a $2 million middle?
I think $2 million for a house would be intimidating for most anyone.
It's not a milestone. It is just the way the market is. And what's driving our market is the low inventory.
Low inventory, which is why realtors say they're still seeing multiple offers and higher prices for almost every sale. But according to the Santa Clara County Association of Realtors, home prices have also been volatile, which makes trying to time this market dangerous.
$2 million, I think that it'll probably change within the next 30 days.
It also explains why in recent months we've talked to several would-be home buyers who say until they see more inventory on the market to bring prices down, Raj, they're going to rent for a while.
Are we in a bubble? Honest to God, are we in a bubble? Is this some off that I'm not aware of that we need to be more situationally aware of? Are we in a bubble?
For millions of Americans, the cost of living comes at a high price, from food to housing. But what if you could move to a place where price increases and the pace of life were both slower? That's the shiny offer coming from states and dozens of small towns across the country, targeting remote workers. Tulsa, Oklahoma, for example, offering $10,000 to workers willing to move there for a year.
So here's the question, because it's always a solution for every problem. Here's the question. Are you guys willing to relocate? Because listen, I see people in the chat right now. Shout out to Chat Labs Weather. They said, Anton, but the weather. I'm a Southern California Espialidocious woman. They said, Anton, but the weather. Are you willing to take a $10,000 payout to go and hang out in Tulsa? Ain't Tulsa the place where y'all, all the black people are supposed to be hanging out anyway? Are y'all willing to get paid $10,000 to live remotely, to work remotely in a place, and that they're hoping that you stay to work remotely in a place that you wouldn't normally go to in order to experience something greater? Sister said, only $10,000.
And this Indiana suburb offering a $5,000 grant, a year of free golf, plus coffee with the mayor.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's the kind of offer the Eisenberg family took up 2 years ago to live here in Lewisburg, West Virginia, after Ben's business took a hit during the pandemic.
We lost half our business, had to let staff go, and we're laying in bed looking at this beautiful house going, we're underwater. I had heard about the Ascend program through social media, and I said, you know what, I'll apply for it, why not?
The Ascend program paid them $12,000 to move here for at least 2 years. Thanks to a public-private partnership between the Wing to Wing Foundation, West Virginia University, and the state.
What are some of the things you noticed were more expensive back in Maryland, a little bit less expensive now here?
When I go to the grocery store, my grocery bill is less overall.
Our household budget is down. The mortgage is cheaper. The movie theater here is half of what it was in Maryland. You know, it's like $6 to go to a movie. But I think the biggest thing was all of the things we can do outside for free.
Free and fun.
We're out on bikes. We like to get on the river and go kayaking.
Kayaking, rafting, biking. How much of this were you all doing back in Baltimore?
None of it.
None of it, yeah.
And all of this is free.
All of it's free.
All of it's free.
The state's governor says he and his favorite furry friend want to welcome even more families like the Eisenbergs.
You're basically saying you come to live in West Virginia and we'll give you all these little perks and everything. Isn't that right, baby dog?
Are there any downsides? Do you ever hear from local residents who say, well, now you've got all these people come to the States, now housing costs are going up?
To be perfectly honest, they're happy about that because their property values have escalated. They know for us to have more and more opportunity in West Virginia, you got to have more people. You got to have a bigger tax base.
Which is one of the reasons why they want immigration to take place and why they want all of these illegal people to come into y'all cities. One of the many reasons.
That's all there is to it.
Nearly 50,000 applications for this program have been submitted, with 96% of those accepted choosing to stay after 1 year.
And that's the bet. 96%, 50,000 applications.
Submitted, with 96% of those accepted.
It's the retention. That's the bet. They're betting that you're going to like what you experience over in those states so much that you decide to stay. And that's the investment. See, you could say they give you $10,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year, $6,000 a year, $12,000 for 2 years for you, because they want to make an impression on you, right? And so what they're basically doing is they're incentivizing you to come over, experience what they got to offer, then ultimately you become a resident, which then make you an asset to the community, unless you get some Pookie and Ray Rays that come through.
Accepted, choosing to stay after 1 year. And nationwide, nearly 60 towns are offering similar deals, with search traffic at one relocation website tripling since 2021.
They might be looking for some place that's more affordable, that they could have some more space. Beyond that, they're looking for community connections.
Connections that helped Ben get a new business focused on outdoor activities up and running in a place his family now calls home.
When you first applied to this program, Callie, at some point did you wonder, is this a scam? You're going to give me money to move?
Yeah, I mean, definitely thought about that. I'm sure there are people that think it's a scam, but it's not. We're here, we're living proof. So
was it worth it?
Definitely. I wouldn't give anything up for this. It's just a great place.
Yeah, and pretty fun fact, their parents came to visit, the Eisenberg's parents. They decided to move to West Virginia, too. They just packed up their bags on the second visit. Yeah, that's how much they loved it. They were charmed. So now the whole family is there. The kids, as you saw, they say it was the best decision for them, too. In fact, the Ascend West Virginia organizers, they do want to stress to everyone watching that this isn't just one town you can move to. They have 4 different areas all across the state and all with a little something different to offer. And remember, there's other programs across the country that are doing this, which is pretty cool.
Almost heaven. West Virginia. Right?
Here's my question to y'all. Sometimes I wonder what my life is going to look like in 20 years. I really do. I wonder if eventually I'll move out of the city, because I am really a city guy. I really am. I love the city. I've loved the city since I was a little child. I remember I used to catch the bus down here on a regular school day, on a half a day, in order to visit my mother. When she would be at MBD banking and stuff like that. And so, I really do. I love the city. And at 42 years old, I love the city even more than I ever have. I actually ride my bike the majority of the places that I go to. I always wonder if I'm ever going to retire to a small town when I'm 65 or 70 years old, and I'm just going to be relaxing and doing the little small things or whatever like that. I just can't see it. I think that more people should move to small towns in order to save money and generate more revenue. But that's just me in particular. Let me go ahead and read some of the super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Let's see what we got here. All right, let me read some of these super chats and we're going to continue over. My girl sister says, Mr. AD, Acosta ETF runs an excellent book club in a Discord. I love being a bag chaser. We got so many assets over here in the bag chaser community. So many people doing awesome things. And so if you guys want to join a community of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, make sure y'all tap into Patreon. How many bag chasers we got now? Because I know it was quite a bit of y'all. What was it, 6,700? Yesterday when I tapped in with y'all? 6,995. So almost 300 of y'all took advantage of the whole situation yesterday. God bless y'all. 6,995 people that's in the chasers. Shout out to the bag chasers. Shout out to the people that's running it up. Darius Davenport says, fellas, that last caller is what happens to you as a man. Don't know how to control your emotions. Stay calm and collect the chasers. Always remove, listen, this is the lesson that I have for y'all. In every situation, always remove the emotion. Let me say it for y'all again. Every situation, always remove the emotion. As a man, your biggest asset is your ability to not make emotional decisions, to stay cool, calm, and collected, and always make the decision that's in the best interest of the people that depend on you, your family, your chasers, your community. Always keep your head. Never, ever, under any circumstance, ever make an emotional decision when you face with somebody else that may be forcing you to try to make an emotional decision. Never, ever. Always keep your cool. Now, it's fun to get passionate when you get into a debate and stuff like that, but when you actually making a real life decision, cut it off. Cut it off. Always run it up. Shout out to Rayshawn. Good God. Good God. My name is Corey is in the building, says, gangster love is wild. I know you got security on you constantly, but be safe out here in these streets, big dog. We love you. Hope you. Come on, man. Oh, I wore the Impala shirt the other night. Shout out to my name is Corey for sending me that Impala shirt. I appreciate you, my guy. Wealth Building Journey says, and in the car, they found a tape, but didn't say who it was to. Now, come to think about it, the name, it was you. Shout out to Eminem. Shout out to the Slim Shady LP. I don't know what to think. Sister says, Mr. AD, West Virginia is tax-friendly, low property and sales tax. Really? I want to visit West Virginia. I've never visited West Virginia. I'm going to read Ray Sean's super chat shortly. Peace, Anton. Did you see the interview with John Bryant? I didn't. Send it to me. Send it to me, big dog. Send me the interview with John Bryant. Mika says, nope, my land is on water docks, peace and quiet. See what I'm saying? But Mika, we have a ball inside of the city. Greatest student of all time, Ray Sean. See, Ray Sean, you didn't even have to give me any. Now, first of all, let me say something about Ray Sean. Ray Sean is the greatest therapist that I've ever met in my entire life. When I say therapy is a scam, he's probably the only therapist that I would ever think of in my entire life. If y'all are actually trying to become a therapist, if you're looking for therapy, if you're looking for somebody to give you some insight on what you need from a therapist perspective, make sure that you go and visit my dog, Ray Sean. He is absolutely one of the most phenomenal people that I've ever met in my entire life. That's number one. He said, chasers gonna chase and haters is gonna hate. We stay focused, Ray. Ray, we stay focused, baby. Let me give a round of applause for my people. Greatest student of all time. Richer than rich. A says, Anton, seeing that today, like every day, you have a big heart, big enough to let a man on the line after harassing you. Is it big enough to open the door to the $9 tier for 5 minutes? I missed that train yesterday. Oh my God. Why y'all doing this to me, man? I tell you what. I'm not going to do it today. Let me think about it. If I do it, it'll be Friday. If I do it, and I don't think that I am, but let me think about it because I got to be a man of my word. Let's talk about it on Friday. Remind me on Friday. I'm looking to have a good Thursday, so remind me on Friday. I'm going to be in a great mood, all right? Remind me on Friday, and let's see what's popping, all right? All right, y'all, let's continue on with the show. Boom. Let's continue on with the show. What we got next? It's going to be a long show today. Food stamps. This is going to be a quick one, y'all. We only going to do this for 10 minutes. We're going to do that for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Food stamps. Did y'all know that the majority of food stamp recipients are able to work and choose not to? That's what the report is saying. Hold on. Before we get into this, do y'all remember these food stamps, the ones that's at the bottom? See, now I think they got the bridge card. Do they got anything different than a bridge card? Do they got something different than a bridge card? Because I remember when I was growing up and we would go to the corner store and the people would give the food stamps. They would get the actual food stamps like it was real money. You just sent me the interview. Thank you, Jamal Fowler. I appreciate you. Food stamps, man, it's different now. Now they got the debit card. They out here selling their food stamps for pennies on a dollar. And I heard that the majority of the people that get food stamps can work and choose not to work. Check it out, y'all.
There used to be a time when people worked for the American dream, but now more and more want it handed to them on a silver platter via government programs, of course.
Adjusted for inflation, food stamp spending is up about 60% since 2019, just down slightly from pandemic-era highs. And according to the
food stamp spending is up 60% since 2019. That's only 5 years. So y'all spending 60% more on food stamps than y'all did during the Trump administration?
USDA data from that organization, more than half of working age food stamp recipients are able-bodied adults who do not work.
That's insane.
Here to react is Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder, the great Steve Moore. Steve, this is an issue, and I was in the campaign trail to come up a lot because Americans have open hearts, good hearts. They want to help people in times of need. But when you have able-bodied men and women in their working years who are sitting at home playing PlayStation and watching Netflix, and they're going to work, they get burning mad.
Yeah, look, this is an outrage. And, you know, when we had COVID, what happened was millions and millions of Americans went on to food stamps in an unusual number because so many businesses were shut down. And then what happened, Sean, and Dagan, is a lot of them never got off. You know, they said, hey, this is pretty good. I can get food stamps. I can get all these other government benefits, rental assistance, and so on. And, you know, those benefits could pay as much as an $80,000 a year job. And so here we are in 2024 in an economy that is not in recession. There are problems with the economy, but there are jobs out there. And these welfare recipients, especially food stamps recipients, as you said, who are able-bodied, they're able to work, they just won't work because, you know, they've got this cushy chair called welfare benefits, and that's not what the American people want.
I remember during the pandemic, they was giving out them STEMI checks. I forgot how much they had gave out, but they was giving out STEMI checks during the pandemic. And I never got one. So I'm looking across the street. Hold on, give me a second, y'all. I'm looking across the street. See if I can get this for y'all. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can get this for y'all real quick. See if I can get this for y'all real quick. Hold on. Give me a second. See if I can get this for y'all real quick. Hold on. I'm looking across the street. Damn, I hope I can get it good fast enough. Main camera. Shit. So I'm looking across the street, and you see that guy right there? He's right there in the corner. Homie is over there smoking crack. You see him walking around? Dude smoking crack, pissing in the corner, right behind the building. I just gave that dude $10 the other day, bro. I just gave him $10. No kidding, man. I'm telling you. Him right there. I just gave him, look at him. Now he's sitting down, smoking crack. Come on, family. Get up. Get up. Don't be down there smoking crack. Come on, man. Don't smoke crack behind the store. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. So a lot of y'all be asking me, Anton, what do you be looking at when you see people walk by? Well, I see people walk by and I see them walk down the street and stuff like that. So, yeah, I see them walk past and walk down the street, and then I can see the city in the distance. But yeah, man, homie in the corner smoking crack. Come on, man. Don't be smoking crack. And I'm sure he get food stamps, which feed into the bigger issue and the thing that we talking about right now, right? Again, people are out here getting food stamps. People are out here getting food stamps, running up a bag. Y'all said he not sitting down, he taking a dump. They out here getting food stamps, running up a bag, and taking advantage of the system. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that people are out here taking advantage of the system. That doesn't bode well for our economy. It doesn't bode well for the community. Let's continue.
There used to be a
interest on the national debt is soaring past $500 billion. According to the Center for a Responsible Federal Budget, debt interest is on track to top $870 billion this year, up from $345 billion just 4 years ago. This is a death spiral.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's happening for two reasons. The one obvious one is that Biden had a $6 trillion spending spree, and every penny of that was borrowed. And so obviously your debt costs go up. But the other thing that's happened, remember, is that interest rates have gone way up because of that spending spree. So we have to pay more to borrow. And the cost of turning that debt over gets higher and higher. I think, I forget that number that you just cited for the debt, but interest on the payment. But I'm here to tell you, if we stay on this path, within a few years, that number is going to be $1 trillion a year just to pay debt. Interest. I mean, come on. You don't get any health care from that. You don't get any, national defense from that. You don't get transportation, schools, just to pay the debt. This is a recipe for total disaster. And by the way, I want to say, I think both parties, unfortunately, are responsible for the spending spree. Neither party wants to cut spending, Sean. I hate to say that about your former colleagues in Congress, but even the Republicans are spending like drunken sailors.
They're both responsible, Steve, but one party's more responsible than the other party. Let's be clear on that. But both have some blame. You talked to President Trump quite a bit. Does he understand the death spiral? Will he do what's necessary to fix this problem? Because to your point, when we're at $1 trillion a year in debt, you're never getting out. The consequences are so painful. No politician is ever going to do it. So will Trump do what's necessary to fix this problem?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be able to find about $500 billion of just waste, fraud, and abuse right off the start. All these green energy programs that Biden has spent hundreds of billions, I think we can get rid of those immediately. And then, of course, we want to grow this economy faster.
Yeah.
One of the ways to bring the debt down is to put people back to work, produce more energy. That'll produce more tax revenue. So, yeah, that is a high priority for us to bring that deficit down as quickly as we can, or else we're headed, I'm going to say it again, $1 trillion a year in interest payments.
That's insane. And all of that comes out of y'all pocket, right? They're not just saying $1 trillion in interest payments and that's just the end of the conversation. That actually comes out of y'all pocket. So what happens is they got to tax you more in order for them to continue to do the same things that they have been doing. And it's just going to cost the government more money, which basically costs you more money. Look, we need people in office that's fiscally responsible also. We need people in office that don't just close off the borders, that don't just hand out a bunch of money. When y'all got a lot of those student loans allegedly forgiven, where do you think that money come from? Whose pockets do you think that come out of? It doesn't even matter. It's a class war anyway. Eventually, everybody is going to be living in a hut, asking for government handouts, and we're going to be in a socialist economy anyway. So I guess it really don't matter. It's coming sooner rather than it is later. So again, national debt is exploding. Most people, over 60-something% of people that have the ability to be able to work don't. And they choose to get food stamps instead. It's just all bad. It's bad out here in these streets, all right? It's horrible out here in these streets. Why is that not what I want it to be? There we go. Boom. All right. Let me see what's happening out in these streets. Let me read a couple of super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. I'm still getting used to this setup. Will do, thank you for at least considering. Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate you. Jay Johnson says, what up, OG? Just asking to confirm, is the coaching call 4 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. your time? God bless you, AD. Remember the people hustling food stamps was younger. When I was younger, do you, AD? I don't know nothing. Let me see. Y'all want me to check my calendar during the show? All right. Let me see. 4 p.m. calendar. All of my times that I have my coaching calls for is Eastern. So you got to adjust for your time zone. I don't want to say who I got in coaching calls today, but all of the time zones is usually Eastern. So you usually want to roll with Eastern my time. So when in doubt, always double check the email, because I'm sure Rita has given y'all clear instructions on what time it is. Because I don't set that up. Rita sets all of that up. Ken J says, you paid for that rock. All right, y'all want to make me feel bad about giving somebody some $10? Jesus, I be giving people, listen, I don't ask questions. When people ask me for money, I don't ask questions. One of the reasons why I don't ask questions when people ask me for money is I always refer back to a story where I seen a guy get his car broken into and it had busted out the window. And so, when he was saying it, he was like, oh man, they costing me all of this money and breaking into my car and tearing up stuff inside of the car, because they tore up some stuff inside of the car. He was like, for what they stole, they could have just asked me for it and I would have just gave it to them instead of them breaking into my car. And then the next day when we was walking past the store, and this was a real long time ago, the next day when we was walking past the store and somebody said, oh man, can I get $1? Can I get $2 in order to be able to catch the bus? And he was like, I ain't got it. And then we went into the store and he pulled out a whole bunch of money in order to pay for some stuff. And so that, for me, that always stuck with me. That always stuck with me when they broke into his car, and then when he was complaining because he was mad, he said, man, they could have just asked me for the money and I would have gave it to him. And then I felt like God was testing him. Listen, y'all got to be careful what y'all saying out loud. Y'all genuinely got to be careful with what y'all saying out loud. I believe that when he said that, he's setting the things in motion for God to test him based off of what he said out loud from what he was going through at that time. And when he got tested, he failed. And so I always remembered that. And so I always remembered that, listen, if I got it, and so I make sure I get it out for people. And if I got it and they ask me for it, I'd rather not know. I don't ask no questions. You are now responsible for how you utilize it. And so if people ask me for it, I give willingly, I give freely. I'm not going to get taken advantage of, but I give willingly and I give freely. And so that was the logic behind why it is that I think and why I do what I do. All right. Let's see. Boomers. Shout out to the boomers. They said that boomers own half of all of the wealth. So before we get into the reaction video, I want to deep dive into this really quickly. And I don't know how true this is, but I seen this pop up on the Wall Street Journal and I wanted to share this with you guys. So we're just going to spend 10 minutes on this and we're going to keep it moving.
This chart shows median net worth by generation in the U.S., and it's what many people think of when they refer to boomers as the wealthiest generation. But that's only part of the story. As a whole, they hold about half of U.S. wealth, much of it in real estate. But that's mostly these boomers, born between 1946 and 1954. The younger boomers, on the other hand, are increasingly struggling with homelessness. Here's how boomers are exacerbating the housing shortage.
Hold on, let me back that up. Let me see that one more time.
Half of U.S. wealth, much.
They say that boomers own about half of U.S. wealth. All right, so this is what we got. We got boomers, Generation X, millennials, and the silent generation. Now, Born in 1982, they call me a geriatric millennial, meaning that I'm at the very tail end of the millennials, right? So they said millennials own 20.8 trillion. Generation X, 44.8 trillion. And then the silent generation, I'm guessing that's Gen Z, owns $20.6 trillion of wealth. How does the silent generation, okay, hold on, wait. What is the silent generation? Let me double check this. Silent, okay, so it's not. Generation X is different. The silent generation are roughly from the mid-1920s to the 1940s. All right, I didn't know that, so I learned something new. All right, so we are the generation that's the last generation, the youngest generation as far as what they can say and control the majority of the wealth. Because Gen Z apparently ain't got nothing, right? Gen Z don't got nothing. So the silent generation is between 1920 and 1940. And then you got the millennials and then Generation X and the boomers. And they're saying that the boomers own 80.6 trillion, which is roughly half of all of the wealth inside of the United States of America. All right, so we doing some work. We doing some math today.
Of it in real estate. But that's mostly these boomers, born between 1946 and 1954.
Woo! So 46 through 54 is the ones that got rich. I don't want to hear no excuses. I keep telling y'all that all of the problems that we have is basically given to us by previous generations because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, especially with regard to relationships. They stole all of the money and they kept it all for themselves, and now they want to sit here and play the victim. But all of the rest of you boomers are suffering.
The younger boomers, on the other hand, are increasingly struggling with homelessness. Here's how.
So think about it. I say it all the time, and I'm going to let the video play after this. I say this regularly. I say, listen, what you do in your younger years absolutely exacerbates or it magnifies in your later years. So you very rarely have people that get older and then they stay in the middle, right? Either you get way worse and you're on the poor end of the spectrum, or you get way much greater and you're on the high end of the spectrum. But you very rarely get people that's able to straddle the middle for their entire lives. And so the middle, when they say the middle class, is often at times the working class. Those are the people that make a certain amount of money. They feel good because they're able to purchase things and they mortgage in their future in order to satisfy their present. And they don't stack and they don't do any of that. And so you got the people that stack and get compound interest. And then you got the people that suffer when they get older. But it's no in between as you get older, because the more you grow, you're either going to grow like this or you're going to grow like that. But you never grow in a straight line. And people never, ever be comfortable just right in the middle and stand in the middle for the rest of their life. That is reserved for the working class. That is reserved for people that are still in the workforce. As long as you stay in the workforce, you'll be fine. But as soon as you leave the workforce, either you thrive or you absolutely fail 100%. There is no in between as you get older. Either you get poor or you get richer. And so the decisions that you make today, shout out to Quentin, the decisions that you make today is largely going to be the determining factor for whether or not you're successful in the future. That's just the facts.
Boomers are exacerbating the housing shortage and overwhelming local economies as a record number of them age. Around 80% of older boomers, who are now mostly in their 70s, are homeowners.
These are folks who were able to buy homes when they were younger. A lot of them have paid off their mortgages, and their homes have appreciated a lot over the last few decades.
Boomers own over 35% of all large homes in the U.S. Most of those homes belong to households with no children living with them. What's happening is that these older Americans are increasingly choosing to age in place.
They feel a connection to the community. Financially, they might feel kind of stuck with their home. I already own this free and clear. If I wanted to buy another home, that new home is going to cost a lot more.
This trend of older homeowners hanging on to their houses is exacerbating the housing shortage and contributing to rising home prices.
It's especially acute of a problem right now because millennials are at kind of a prime home buying time in their lives, and the millennial generation is a very large generation.
California homeowners typically stay put the longest.
California has a very unique tax structure where you're very much incentivized to stay where you are, because as long as you stay in your home, your property taxes won't go up.
Not all boomers are holding on to their large homes. Around 20% are selling. But one reason this might not be making as big of an impact on the housing shortage is that boomers aren't really downsizing with their new home, so they're not increasing the supply of large homes on the market.
And so usually what happens is when you get older, because I did it with my parents, once my parents got to retirement age or they got to a certain level, what you did was you forced them out of that house and you said, hey, this is too much house for you. I don't want you going up and down the stairs. There's no reason for you to have 4 bedrooms when it's just y'all two. All of the kids is out of the house. We're not coming back. Why don't y'all make y'all life easier? And so they don't downsize. They don't always downsize in order to reduce the costs. A lot of times they downsize because it's just better for their lifestyle and they spend more time outside of the house. And you realize that you use a small percentage of your house versus the amount of house that you actually own. The difference is nowadays it's to where you can't really afford to sell because then you own just enough equity to where you don't want to leave where you at. So if you sell over in California, it's going to be hard for you to actually find a different place, especially if you're above a certain threshold for the value of your crib. And if you do move, then you probably can afford just as much house. So you wind up buying the same size house and you're not really downsizing. So there's a lot of boomers, and somebody said it in the chat, the boomers did a heck of a job hoarding all of the wealth. 1,000%. They are not spending the way that they're supposed to, and they are not going poor like we need them to. You know what I'm saying?
That could be driven by there not being a lot of good, what we call starter home or kind of smaller home options. Because in general, when builders are building, they tend to be building larger and more expensive homes.
At the same time, younger
don't
boomers
nobody else
are
want to pay them HOA fees either.
driving up the number of older homeless people in cities across the country.
Elderly homelessness has been rare since the reemergence of homelessness in the mid-1980s. Usually it's been people in their 20s and 30s and 40s. But now we're approaching close to 30% of the adult homeless population are people 55 and over.
This is partly due to the fact that boomers are such a big cohort, and since the 80s, they've made up the largest share of the homeless population. This chart shows how younger boomers...
Oh, the boomers is used to being homeless. Okay, all right. So y'all used to taking dumps over in the corner. I get it.
Boomers specifically have made up about 1/3 of the U.S. homeless population for decades. But a lot of boomers are also experiencing homelessness for the first time as they've gotten older. A 2023 UCSF study found that over 40% of homeless older adults in California were homeless for the first time after the age of 50. For some, this was caused by a major life event like the death of a spouse or a medical emergency. For others, especially those living on Social Security, it was due to high housing costs. In Naples, Florida, for example, there are more elderly homeless people as Social Security payments haven't kept up with rent increases.
Let me tell y'all something. A, y'all need to move to a cheaper place because y'all keep on trying to hold on to the life that you previously had. No, man, move further up. That's number one. Number two, I tell y'all this all the time. Some of y'all keep on neglecting, investing, and putting money in your 401ks. Oh, man, that ain't nothing or whatever. Okay, you're going to be out there on these streets, and I ain't going to be giving you no money. You're going to be out here on these streets when you get past 50 because you're going to be dependent on the federal government and Social Security, and that ain't even fully funded. I'm telling you, bro, look, at the very least, y'all need to be maxing out on your 401k every single year. The last thing you want when you get older is to be worried about running out of money before you die. That is a miserable expense. That is a miserable existence. It's a miserable situation. It's a miserable burden to put on your loved ones to have to take care of you when they get older. It's miserable. The last thing you want to do is have to worry about how much money you're going to have when you die. And I know that it's this conflicting thing where you got people out here saying stuff like, well, you know, you can't take it with you and all of this. Well, what if you outlive it? What if you out here on these streets begging? What if it start raining in the daytime and then you got to walk around with mildew clothes on? That's no way to live. That's no way to live, y'all.
There's also a significant number of people who worked jobs that didn't contribute to Social Security, so they're ineligible for Social Security income in retirement.
We see it very often in things like migrant labor, construction, especially demolition, high risk kind of jobs that are low skilled. So instead they get this program called supplemental security income, which is around $950 a month right now.
Homes at the very bottom of the market have also been heavily affected by the nationwide housing shortage.
The supply of those marginal but available housing options shrinks in the context of a very hot real estate market, because even these properties that were serving very low income people, hotels, motels, the price is going up for those, and the people.
Somebody in the chat saying, Anton, if you have a lot of credit card debt, should you still contribute to your 401k? My rule of thumb is this, is that you always get the free money. Always get the free money. Always get the free money. Meaning that if you have a match coming from your job, usually it's in a 5 to 6% range. If you're working for a nonprofit or a university or something like that, then usually you can get it double matched, or you can get it matched, a 1-for-1 match. When I was working at the University of Michigan, I always maxed out because we got a double match. That means for every dollar you contribute, they contribute 2 into it. And that was one of the ways in which you grow your net worth. So my rule of thumb is to always, at minimum, get the match. Get whatever it is that you got to get the maximum match. All right? That's A. And then B, you throw everything else that you have at the debt. Because you cannot climb Mount Everest with rocks inside of your backpack. Get the free money and then get rid of the debt. And then take the same approach, the money that you was throwing towards the debt, you then throw it into your investments, which then will put you in a position to be able to compound your wealth. But the enemy of wealth is debt 100%. 100%. Always get the match, and then always, after you get the match, throw as much money as you can to getting rid of the debt. All right? Never walk around with debt. If
people want to sell, they want to convert, knock down new buildings, what have you.
Low-cost assisted living centers, which were never built in adequate numbers to handle the large boomer generation, have also been closing amid staffing shortages and financial troubles. Researchers estimate that in New York City alone, healthcare and shelter costs will surpass $450 million by 2030. Academic researchers attribute the different economic prospects of the older and younger boomers to something called the cohort effect, which is the idea that people born in the same period share unique experiences as they move across time.
The older baby boomers in particular, this is a generation that was coming of age into an economy that was really booming.
When they bought homes in the 70s or 80s, home prices were low and interest rates were high.
What happened right after that was that you had 4 decades where interest rates basically just fell. That meant that even though they were entering into home ownership at a time when rates were high, they were able to refinance.
The second half of the boomer generation came of age during back-to-back recessions.
They faced a very crowded housing market. Prices were escalating. Young adults in particular faced the challenge of getting entry into the labor market.
Between jobs are hard to come by. How about you? You hiring?
The crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s led many
No, not homie sitting there in front of the computer talking about the crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s. Hold on. Let me get that right there. Not you sitting in front of the TV with the prescription stuff in the background with a sweater on, trying to figure out how you can get that mean rock off.
Epidemic in the 80s led many to struggle with homelessness.
And that population has continued to be at risk as they've gotten older.
Sometimes if you miss a window by, even 5 years, 10 years, you're looking at a very different housing market, or you're looking at a very different labor market, and it takes time to catch up.
Over the next 10 years, some researchers are counting on what they call a silver tsunami, a huge wave of housing inventory from baby boomers aging out of their homes.
And guess who's going to be there willing to take it all in? Anton from Anton Daniels and the Bag Chasers. Yeah. We're going to be waiting. We're going to be watching. We're going to be anticipating. We're going to be rubbing our hands like Birdman. And we're going to be waiting to buy everything. Everything. We're going to buy all 9 million homes, man. 100%. Let me switch over to this last story really quickly so we can get up out of here. So one more reaction video, and then I'm going to get y'all going for the day. Man said that he was laid off after 18 years on his job. Laid off after 18 years on his job. Look at this. We going overtime today. We running it up. We working today. All right. Man said that he was laid. Wait a minute. Where did that go? All right, there we go. Man said that he was laid off after 18 years on his job. I haven't seen this video. I wanted to review it in real time with you guys. Let's get it in, y'all.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Mikey, and
okay, Mikey, I sense a little something different in this video. Chat, are we all thinking the same thing, or are we thinking something different? Let me give him his credit before we get started. His name is Mikey with 2 E's Rogers. Mike E, M-I-K-E-E with 2 E's Rogers. He has, as of the recording of this video, 13,700 subscribers. And chat, I just want to know if we all on the same page. Are y'all my spirit animal? Do we sense the same thing? Are we looking at this the same way? Only 2 seconds into the video, are we really, really being able to use our context clues? And this is how I know that y'all own it. Shout out to the chat. The chat know what's going on in these streets, man. Oh, I love my chat. I love my chat. See, that's how I know that y'all situationally aware. Y'all not confused when y'all running the stuff in the streets and stuff like that. Y'all be like, I didn't know. I didn't sense it. No, 2 seconds in, me and all my spirit animals are sensing the same thing. We could be wrong, but I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. Let's go ahead and look at this.
And as you can tell from the title, I just lost my job after 18 years of being with my company.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we all on the same page. Let's continue to rock. We're going to ignore that because we're not focused on that. We're focused on the money aspect of it, all right? He said after 18 years, and at the end of that 18, found out that job wasn't his. He gave me money when I'm in need. Let's get to it.
I'm making this video primarily because through looking back.
Yo, this is hard. This is a hard, because you know what's the problem is, guys, and this is why they don't want to give me my $30 million. The problem with this whole situation is that I'm unable to ignore all of the context around the video in order to make an informed decision or to review it authentically just based off of what's being communicated. Because when I see the nose ring and then I see the slit in the eye and all of this extra stuff, it's like, dang, man, I just wanted to review the video. I wasn't trying to get into all of this, but we'll get to it.
Back at my career, I made some crucial mistakes, and I want to share that with you. In case
all of them S's, man. All of them, the extra S's, the crucial mistakes. It's them S's, it's the context clues. All right, y'all, let's focus. Let's focus.
Like in the middle of your career or just starting your career, you can think about these things so that you don't get to a place where I am currently at, where I feel so lost and incompetent and have major imposter syndrome about moving forward in my career. And I'm also making this video for my current community and subscribers because I was thinking of just mentioning this in a vlog in passing, but it is such a big life-changing moment and a defining moment for me in my life, but also my career and my relationship with my husband. So I decided to make a separate video for this to talk about it with you guys and kind of just tell you a little bit about my story and my career and my workplace, because I haven't really mentioned a lot about my work in my vlogs. So when I decided to make a video about this, I thought about scripting it, but that felt kind of disingenuous. So I decided to just have like a little sit down chit chat moment with you guys. I'm currently on the floor because I feel grounded here. I was like literally trembling before hitting the record.
Not the trembling before hitting the record button. I understand you're a little nervous. You're a little nervous. All right, let's get to it. I'm trying to get to the meat and potatoes.
record button. But in terms of just like structuring the video, I am going to break it up into 3 sections so I'm not all over the place. The first part, I'm just going to talk about sort of my history with the company and my career and what I do. And then the second part is going to be about the mistakes I've made throughout my career as I look back now that things have happened and has hit the floor. It's so clear the mistakes I made. Those mistakes are contributing to how I'm feeling now in terms of feeling lost. And then 3, kind of like, where do we go from here, how I'm feeling, and what's next for me. Why did I lose my job? Basically, my company is going out of business. We are liquidating our assets. Just weren't able to recover from 2020 and the pandemic. We were an online business retailer in the fashion space. So quick backstory about how I started with the company. 18 years ago, I basically applied as a photographer, and at the time it was a startup company. They were like in their first year, so I feel like I was really part of the...
You know what? I'm gonna pull the plug on this one. I just can't, cause I can't, cause it's too many jokes that's flying through my head, and I like to highlight people, and so I can't focus. And if I can't focus, it's gonna be difficult for me to be able to have a conducive conversation as best for all of us to learn something. So we gonna get a different. Look, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do throughout the show. All I know is I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. Right? We gonna get a different video tomorrow. I'm gonna go through my email and see if I can find a different video for tomorrow, and then we gonna go from there. I can't, bro. It's just too much. It's too much, bro. It's hard. It's hard out here for a pimp. I'll just pull the plug on that one. We'll start over tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow all over again. We'll get back to it. All right. Ooh, y'all are childish, and so am I. I had to joke quick, big dog. I did, man. I tried, bro. I tried to give him a chance. I just can't do it. Anyways, let me acknowledge one more person. Somebody sent me a super chat last night that I was unable to capture. So I want to make sure. Time to get the Rumble contact. You ain't lying, bro. I want to give a shout out to my dog. Hold on. Let me see this one. It's Chris, man. I want to give a shout out to Daryl Pullins. Shout out to Daryl Pullins for last night. I appreciate you, big dog, for holding me down on Cash App. It is much, much, much appreciated. Thank you, for real. I can't, bro. It's too much. I just can't do that last one. It's going to take too much, and I'm going to have to act like I'm very interested, and I don't want to review nothing that I'm not really interested in. So, yeah, man, it was an interesting show. I'll tell you one thing. You never know what you're going to get on the Millionaire Morning Show. That's a fact. So, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're going to do an hour tonight. Just an hour. I'm going to get my thoughts off because I got some really, really, really interesting thoughts that I want to share with y'all tonight. See my snow globe? That's the MGM Grand in Detroit. Ooh, it's snowing. So, yeah, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I think y'all are the greatest audience on earth. And then we going to figure it out, man. We absolutely going to figure it out. Let me read one more super chat, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Devastator says, was watching a video about the teacher crying about being fired yesterday, bro. AD, you had a bad moment. You broke out laughing. I broke character. Man, we all break character. This is why it's called the internet. Shout out, that girl is going to be fine. She's going to make a whole bunch of money on social media. She's going to continue to run it up. She'll be fine. All right? Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's run it up. Share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. Make sure you join the Bag Chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out.